Good morning,
Good
Bitcoin
morning.
Nation. How are y'all doing?
Doing great, Craig. How are you?
I'm lacing my shoes up, getting ready to walk out the door. I'm running slightly behind schedule. I started doing these meditations, and I just didn't give myself enough time. But fired up about my morning walk.
That's good stuff. Happy Monday.
Oh, I love it. It's my favorite day. I've been dying to get here. Yesterday was just, I don't know. Sometimes you're just ready for the week start.
Yeah, dude, I had to make an agreement with myself last night to go to sleep early so I could actually enjoy this week. So
Yes, I did too. I went to bed about 9 o'clock.
just fully agree. Just like, hey, you're gonna you're gonna do this. It's gonna be good for you.
You're going to like it. I'm interviewing Nate this week. Nate and Eric will be some of my first video interviews. So I just got a
Tell me a
response
little
from
bit
both of them.
about them. I'm not sure who you're referring to.
So there was a guy that did, oh my gosh, what was his show? It was something on Bitcoin. It was number one Bitcoin, or I can't believe I cannot remember this. This was like one of the original guys way before BTC sessions. And his name was Nate.
Oh, 99
Oh,
Bitcoin.
it's going to come to me. I'm feeling like such an idiot right now.
You're talking
Anyway,
about Nate from 99 Bitcoins?
he was an actor
Craig,
and knew nothing about
can you
Bitcoin,
hear me?
and now knows so much about Bitcoin. The videos converted him while he was reading the
I don't
scripts,
think he can hear you,
making
Logan.
the videos.
It's no biggie. Craig, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
I think that you can't hear me.
Oh, wait up. I know what the problem
Yep.
is. Okay. I think that fixed the problem. Is that better?
Morning, guys.
Morning, Macro. How you doing?
Can y'all hear me?
Doing well. How are you? Hey, Craig, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I got you good, Craig. Can you hear Logan?
No, I could not hear Logan.
You may need to drop out and come
Maybe.
back up.
Yep. Let me do that. Hold on one second.
It's the good old Wi-Fi to 5G switcheroo that that X hates. I've ran into that
Yeah,
issue before.
it really does. It's fine going the other way, but anytime you're like walking out of your house or something, it'll just, for whatever reason, you just lose connection to half the other people. It's so annoying because I've definitely had that happen plenty of times myself.
All good. He'll jump back on here in a little bit. Not sure what he was. I forget what he was talking about, but I know my Monday morning routine looks a little bit like Craig's. Just kind of getting a late start today, and having a good time with coffee. Have you had your morning coffee yet, Macro?
I'm in the process currently, actually. I'm getting ready to hit the road to go to a plant right now. So did my row, which is really what wakes me up, to be honest, more than the coffee. The coffee is more of like a routine or a ritual thing than anything. I don't think it actually does that much for me from a waking up standpoint, considering I've already been up for a couple hours.
That's true. I saw a tweet the other day. It said, all right, for those of you at 5 a.m. that wake up, how early is too early to mow your lawn? So,
I would say that depends on the proximity of your neighbors.
that's true.
That's early for cutting grass.
Yeah,
Yeah,
normally
5
you want
a.m.
to
sounds good.
let the dew get, go away a little bit, let the sun get on it before you cut it. Otherwise, it's just a mess.
I used to own a grass cutting business with another guy. It was actually his company. I helped him start it. And by the way, never started a grass cutting business. They were too hard for their money. I felt bad for
I
them.
In high school, that's how I made all my cash. Actually, I had a lawn care business myself. I had about 20 yards that I took care of, all like friends and family, but still they don't care if their grass isn't cut. They're not happy with you. So it it definitely taught me a lot of lessons in high school.
Oh yeah, we cut commercial properties. We had like a couple of fast food chains, a couple of larger acreage properties. That's work, and it is hard on your equipment, and hard on your body and stuff. And um, it was
Oh
fun to
yeah.
start with them at first. I'm glad I never did it. I was like, dude, you're working way too hard for your money. We got to find something else. You need to think of another business model.
Oh
This
man,
is like,
I was. It was me. I was a solo operation. I did everything. I was doing the cutting, doing the weed eating, all that stuff.
did you run one of the big mowers, or you just had like a push mower?
I had deals with most of the people where because it was like friends and family, and I was just in high school. I When I started it, I couldn't afford the mower for it. Um, so what I did was I talked with all of them, and most of them had mowers or had access to a mower. So basically, the fuel would just come out of my pay, and I would use their equipment until I had made enough to get a small riding mower.
Man, there you go. That's entrepreneurial right there.
Yeah, so I brought my own weed eater, and I did that until I had enough. Kind of at the end of the first summer, where I had a riding mower, I made enough from the first like 4 or 5 lawns to get that, and then once I had that, I had the little ramps so I could drive it up in the back of the pickup truck that my dad had. He had like an old beat up burgundy Toyota, those things, like those little trucks in the 90s, those were super popular, and the mower would just fit in the back of that thing, and I could throw the weed eater in there too, and so I would drive around with those. And yeah, that was pretty much it. I actually made enough though doing that for like the 4 years I was in high school, that when I went to college I never had to ask my parents for money until the very last semester of college, which I was fairly proud of.
Man, you should have kept going in business.
Yeah, I
Just
know, but
started another one.
they they wanted me to go to school, and I mean, at least I didn't go for like basket weaving. I went for engineering, so it's
Right.
definitely been useful for me since I've gotten out. But I will say I do think it definitely subdued the entrepreneurial spirit that I've always had for a while going to college. It's crazy how it does that.
Oh, it's designed for it. It beats out curiosity, asking questions, questioning the norm, going against the grain, getting out of line, disobeying parents, all the above. Takes that out systematically.
Yeah, I completely agree. Well, especially the school that I went to was a quasi-military school, right? And those are really bad about it. I
And
mean,
you can't
literally
cheat.
the first 2 weeks is called indoctrination. They're
Oh my
not even
gosh.
hiding it. It's called
Right?
indoc.
They can't even you can't even cheat. That's the worst part about school. Because in life you can cheat. Everybody in business cheats. Anybody else, or you can't collaborate. Maybe that's the better way to put it.
I was
You
gonna
can't
say cheating is a naughty word, Craig. We should go with like strategic advantage or something like that.
moats, you put moats around your business, you get monopolies, you get patents, you get contracts, you get in school, or you collaborate with your neighbor. All that's called cheating in school. You got to do it by yourself, can't use a calculator, got to read the book, can't have internet, can't ask AI. It never works in the real world. You do what it takes to win. Outside of breaking the law, well, actually no, your competitors will absolutely break the law. So
It's I'm always reminded of that Pirates of the Caribbean quote. I don't know if you've seen it, but um, seen any of those movies, but there's one scene in there where the guy goes, "The rules are more of guidelines,"
they
and that's
are.
how most people view laws, I would say. or not
Yeah,
most people actually. That's how entrepreneurs probably view them. I think most people actually view the laws as laws.
Well, I mean,
no,
speed limits, you know.
there are no
Yeah,
laws in
guidelines.
entrepreneurship. The rules are for the losers mostly. It's and it was such a shock when I started to get larger into my companies. How many of my competitors just completely disobeyed licensing, bribery, insurance regulations. I'm like, God,
Craig,
how are
it's
these
not
guys?
bribery. What you're the vernacular is just all wrong here. It's not bribery. It's entertainment.
Sure. And then you want to know what's even worse? When I got into international shipping, like shipping containers from China to here, it is lit. The only thing they are missing are parrots and eye patches and peg legs. That's it. It is just pirating. It is the most like, okay, so you pay tariffs based off of the code that you put on whatever you're shipping, the light fixture. And you're supposed to say, if that's an LED light fixture, you put this code on there. They come up with all kind of codes to just say, and the tariff difference might be $5,000 on a container or $22,000 on the same container with the same stuff in it. And they just basically have all these ways, the old guys that are in it, of knowing how to secretly get stuff through all these different channels. Because I tried to do it, and when I tried to do it legally the right way, it almost made it cost prohibitive. So like, I'm gonna just pay y'all to do it. It's y'all's problem. I don't know anything. Just ship it. Send me a bill. And they were shipping stuff to me like $15,000 to $20,000 per container cheaper, just because they knew how to work the system. And all
That's
international shipping's like that. Like everything from Amazon, anything coming from China. I don't know about the other countries. I'm assuming they're all the same. It's crazy.
yeah. I mean, it's crazy to, you think about it, right? Unless you've experienced it directly, if you've done like cross Atlantic on a ship before, I just don't think it's really possible for people to mentally just picture just how vast, how remote things are when you get out there. And it really still is like, yeah, sure, the ports are somewhat controlled, but once you're
Oh,
out there, it's kind of like, hey, there's no rules, like you're just out there,
mm-hmm.
and it's crazy. Even I didn't ship out for all that long. I was only out on merchant vessels for a couple of years, but like, it's just crazy. You wake up every morning, you wake up 4 or 5 mornings in a row, rather, and you just look out and there's nothing but water, and you're underway in this big diesel powered vessel. And then you think about the fact that people were doing this by sail and little wooden ships, for a month without ever seeing land. It's kind of crazy. And I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of the shipping industries that are still way more old school than modern life is.
Yeah, it is. And I lost contracts to suppliers that told the Chinese manufacturers to put stickers made in China that would fall off really easily. They said really crappy glue, so they could take those stickers off and put "Made in America" stickers on them, and we were losing them for that certification. And I'm like, these aren't
That's
made in
right.
America. Like the stickers themselves are not even made in America, and it says "Made in America." It was it was so frustrating to somewhat have to play by the rules, but that's why when I hear all the Bitcoiners when they say, "So how are they going to pay our taxes on it?" My eyes are just rolling. I'm like, you're the only one asking that question. You realize that? The rest of the planet. You think these Mexicans that get Bitcoin are worried about how they're paid in taxes? Like
Well, and I think
that's
I think that comes a bit from living directly underneath the thumb of the most powerful government that's probably ever existed in humankind. So
yeah.
at least, and so I think rightfully so, people are like, oh shit, I don't want to be on the wrong side of that. So they do legitimately go, how do I try to not piss off the man, you know?
Yeah, it's like this. Listen to Jason Lowry's interview, I think with Robert Breedlove. At some point, I remember it distinctly. I was in Miami for the Bitcoin convention, and I literally almost vomited when I heard him say this. He was saying, he said, think about it. The ancestor of the ape, the ancestor of the wolf is licking the feet of the ancestor or the offspring of the ape. So think about what man has done, what apes have done to wolves. He said the highest form of predation is to literally breed the will to fight out of your prey. Look at cattle. They don't even move. You could murder the guy next to them and they just sit there and chew grass. And so our will to fight from pre-K, the system's designed to breed, to literally beat the will to fight out of you. And it's a very American thing. Like, I remember when I was working with Father Patrick and he came out of his mission in Mexico where he spent like a couple of years. And I was like, Father Pat, this is just when like Stealing Songs, Napster, and all that stuff was coming out. And all in my church group, they were like, oh, you can't, that's stealing. And Father Patrick just got the biggest kick out of it. He says, that's only an American thing. All this, like the rest of the world, they just burn songs. They don't even think about it. It's like this, it's almost like virtue signaling back then. But man, when Jason Lowry said that literally the highest form of predation is to breed, almost genetically alter the will to fight. And I see that even among my fellow Bitcoiners, I guess, that aren't very entrepreneurial. They're always asking those questions. How about taxes? How about this? And I'm like, man, this stuff was designed to fight all those attacks on property rights and freedom and theft. Not just the the criminal type, but I don't see why people don't see taxes themselves as part of the criminal element.
I mean, they absolutely are. I'm fully in the camp of taxation is theft, all of it, 100% of it. And I've been there ever since I really started making any kind of money at all. It's like, fuck this shit. Why? Please tell me why or how it makes any sense to be giving 40% of the product of my labor to somebody else by force. It just doesn't make any sense. It's absolutely theft. And there's no way that you can jawbone it for me to ever feel otherwise, and I will always feel that way. And I don't know. It's hard for me to fathom when you think about it. And I mean, obviously, if you're a Bitcoiner, you've gone down this rabbit hole, you know how it happened. But at the same time, when you sit there and you think about like the things that we revolted over in the past versus now, where it's like, literally 40% of your income just gone. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's because school has basically basically attacked your will to fight at a super young age with F's on report cards, timeouts, taking you out of recess.
Well,
Any
and
will to
even
fight.
worse now, Craig. The last talk that I did in a school, at the end of my talk that I gave to them, a small class of kids all sitting in front of computers, not in front of desks, all sitting in front of computers, and the teacher said, "Okay, you can go ahead and submit your questions now." And all the kids looked at their screens and started typing their questions in, and the teacher filtered the questions and then presented the questions to me verbally. The teacher did, not the student. They didn't ask the question. I mean, they might have typed it, but think about this as like a Bitcoin transaction. It's being filtered. It's being only certain people got their questions through because, like, oh, well, the teacher didn't think mine was good enough. Like, what? Well, this used to be a place where we rose our hand, we were called upon by name, and now it's just okay. Go ahead and open your computer, type in the question you have for the talker. It's bizarre.
Yeah, and that's where I think.
Press button for food pellet.
Yeah, that's where I think that in a game theoretical way, the other nations that have less laws and less burden and less rules and less structure are going to win because Bitcoin structures fair play and the free market's going to gravitate more towards freedom and less towards regulation, because we all know that the thieves, when they start spending the money, it's not nearly as efficient at building wealth. So a lot of them hoard it. They certainly aren't building the next SpaceX. Think of all the government supported companies or politicians that just take the money and then how do they spend it, versus the guy that created the wealth, having him keep it and amplify his efforts. And I think that's going to be rewarded more in a Bitcoin nation or a Bitcoin economy. And the Bitcoin economies are currently existing. So it's not like a Bitcoin economy in the future. The current Bitcoin economies are growing exponentially fast because they're not working with the burden of theft on top of them, and we are. So I wish there was some, chart that we could see how quickly Bitcoin economies are growing versus fiat economies, because they can operate on such a, like they can, all the capital can still remain in the entrepreneur's hand, in the value creator's hand. And so he's just snowballing, whereas our entrepreneurs are constantly getting the hardest dollars to earn, the profit dollars, not the revenue dollars. So think about that. You're taxed on your profit dollars. You might work your ass off for $100, you get 10, and they tax the 10, which is the hardest part to get, the profit. And if you lose, like if you lose 10, if you spend $100 and you make 90, so you lost $10, they don't help you out with that. So it's like you can't. I mean, I guess you can go back tax some of your losses, but for the most part, if you go under and take a major loss, the government doesn't really help you out with that. So, yeah, I think Bitcoiners, the Bitcoin economies, the Bitcoin entrepreneurs are just growing exponentially as opposed to the other ones, which are getting killed exponentially. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
I think if you look at it through a historical lens, right, Craig, any of the nations that were on the rise in the past are the ones who are basically, or it's always the jurisdiction that sets up the fairest relative to the others ability for people to just live their life by their own terms and effectively just do what they want to do. Those nations always win out. And if you look at take even like a Genghis Khan back in the day when he's conquering all of Eurasia, what he would do is basically they'd show up and they'd say, hey, you either submit to us, pay a fee, and then live your life on your terms, or we're going to completely destroy you. So you take your pick. But for the most part, they just left people alone, let them do their thing, which is why you didn't have major issues or revolts within their nation until eventually, just like anything else, you get big enough and then bureaucracy starts to happen. People start to disrespect private property rights, and then those nations fall. And the same thing happened in Rome, right? You had a nation which basically had a cohesive culture, and they allowed people to live life on their own terms for the most part. And then over time, you get bureaucracy, it gets just bloated. And the interesting thing to me, the interesting question to ask is, can a nation that has grown to be the most powerful, when they start to get to a state of bloat, can that ever be recovered from? Because so far in human history, I don't know if there's an example. Maybe you could argue when Rome switched from being a republic to an empire, they kind of re-envisioned themselves, and maybe the US is kind of at that stage now where there's got to be some kind of switch from, call it US republic to US empire. I would argue we're already an empire, but the interesting question to me is, can an empire or a great nation, when it hits that state of bloat and it starts to go into decline, can it actually recover and have another 200-300 years of prosperity? Or is it just like a larger than life cyclical thing that we as humans just can't control, can't get around? It's just like natural law almost, like what can we actually push against that tide? I don't know.
I think it's one of the cases of that system drinking the poison and wishing the other system would die. There's really no other way to describe it. I mean, anything they do at this point is just going to be poison under their own pressure, because it's just the weight of themselves pushing them down. So it's similar to like them drinking the poison and saying, "Oh, okay, well, Bitcoin's going to die." It doesn't really make sense, but it's logical in their eyes.
Yeah, I don't think they realize that this thing is set up against them. It's kind of like, how hard is it to analyze the threat of Netflix when you're in Blockbuster, running the day-to-days and facing your problems of managing people and physical properties and shipping plastic cases and dealing with air conditioning bills and storefronts and that kind of stuff. And so it's so hard to step out of that world. Like, I remember one of the big quotes that I always heard in entrepreneurship was, you have to work on your company, not in your company. And so when you're so busy just operating the business, and then you get this new technology which you've never experienced the good or the bads of, like the iPhone being able to ship um, being able to ship over the air movies, you just don't see the threat. It's super hard to see the threat. And so I think the people that currently operate the monetary system with all its problems and all its headaches or whatever, the whole system, it's really hard to take a step back and understand what Bitcoin is and what it's going to do to your system. I mean, look at us. We're not operating the fiat system. And we as a population have a super hard time understanding and explaining to others what Bitcoin is and what it does. Imagine if you were like, eyeballs deep into running the Federal Reserve, and then somebody tries to explain Bitcoin to you. Like, it's the people operating the system that's going to fail, I think, often have the hardest time seeing the new system that will destroy them. Like their mindset is just set against it. I think what is Jeff Booth says something about this. I thought it's hard to see a system. You can't solve a problem. Oh, somebody help me here. What was it? Can't solve a problem from inside
You
the old
you
system.
can't solve a problem with the system from within the system.
Yes. Thank you, Justin. And it's true. It's true. You have to step out wherever you are to actually solve the problem. To solve the problems. So I don't think they have the ability to do that. I mean, it would be a rare person. And then that person that could explain it or do it or see it typically is laughed out of the boardrooms, the very boardrooms he might be a part of. They look at you like you're a lunatic and have 3 eyeballs. So I think the Federal Reserve and all these people, I don't know, I've heard people say that they know exactly what Bitcoin is, but I don't know. I sure as hell would have thought Kodak would have known what the digital camera was. I thought Blockbuster would have known what Netflix is, and you can just go down the list. The cab companies with
Well, Craig, the crazy thing about that Kodak thing is they invented the digital camera and they couldn't see what it was going to be, which isn't that crazy? Like, it was somebody within their company, I'm pretty sure, that actually figured it out.
NSA made SHA 256, didn't they?
I'm not sure.
An internal, either like the NSA or the CIA, someone internally in the government made SHA 256.
Yeah.
It was probably like DARPA or something. I know they had something to do with government stuff, but it's also one of those deals where it's like, I think it's funny because I've heard this pushback from people before where they're like, oh yeah, well, the CIA is like going to come in and they're going to turn it off. And it's like, okay, that's like you're telling me that the CIA is going to come in and just, turn all the lights off for everybody everywhere all at once. And it's like, you don't understand how networks work, like, good luck. That's not how it works.
Yeah, it was the NSA. I just Googled it. But yeah, Justin, saw you had your hand up.
Hi, guys. First of all, I'd like to thank Craig for always DMing me spaces that he's a part of. And when I catch him, and here I am. So thank you, Craig. Keep it up.
Yeah, no problem.
I've been
Tell
here
us
for
about
a
your
couple. Well, I'm walking through the streets of San Salvador to my lawyer's office, and I couldn't be more excited. So many different vectors going on. I'm playing 16-dimensional chess with the entire fucking world, but this chessboard right here in San Salvador is pretty fucking important. And I got about 7 or 10 or 15 or 69 different checkmates, but it's all good. And so anyway, the point is, everything Craig was saying, listen to this guy, guys. He said it earlier, Thursday? What was that, like 4 days ago? I don't know. Is it Monday? It's Monday. He said that, pay attention. Pay attention when, sorry, that's loud. Pay attention when people that know what they're talking about are sharing their time and their wisdom and their knowledge with you. And he wasn't talking about himself, but he should have been. And what he was just saying right now is true about the people that are in charge of the money. Maybe they understand it, maybe they don't, doesn't matter. But guess what? I'm going to take it to the different, more important aspect of everything that we are struggling with as a human civilization. Okay. The money, fix the world. Bitcoin is the solution. Do people understand at the highest levels? Maybe they do, maybe they don't. Are they going to fight us? Maybe they will, maybe they won't, maybe they are. Maybe they're just going to lose. It's a matter of time. But the point is, the number one issue is more important than that. That's the number two issue, fix the money, fix the world. The number one issue, guys, is maintain reliable, durable, affordable electric grids. Because that is the foundation of human civilization as we know it. And guess what? Everything that Craig said about the whole situation with the monetary system and like what Bitcoin is, what isn't, and maybe Bitcoin doesn't even exist, but the issue remains the same. Everything you said about that, you said the same thing about the electric grids. The people in charge don't know what they're doing, or maybe they do, maybe they don't, but they're making bad decisions and they're compromising our grids, and it's been getting bad and it's getting worse, and they're doing the same stuff and it's going to get worse. And you know what happens when we don't have reliable, affordable electric grids anymore? You lose potable water. You lose sanitation. You lose the ability to read your kids a book at night. You lose the ability to stay comfortable when there's a extreme weather event. You lose the ability to charge your vehicle, which is now your mode of transportation. And maybe they control it like Craig thinks and Macro thinks they might, or maybe they don't. But maybe you can't just charge it and put quote unquote fuel into your car. So the point is, number one issue in the world is maintaining and building on safe and reliable electric grids at every scale, in every place. Number two, fix the money, fix the world. Thanks. That's what I had to say.
That's great, man. Thank you. Satoshi's Bride. So you're next?
Okay, I have one question for Justin, and I want to say something. Justin, would you say that someone who has installed solar systems would...
Can y'all hear Satoshi?
Yeah,
Not,
we can hear Satoshi. I don't know if you can, Macro.
I'll drop down.
You go right
Okay,
ahead. Sorry,
question is for
Satoshi's Bride.
Justin. Okay, Justin can hear me. Okay, Justin, would you say that someone with the skills to install solar systems and all things related to solar would also be able to transfer those skills and be able to install Bitcoin miners and things like that?
Well, installing solar is like putting in a light bulb. So yeah, if someone can put in a light bulb, then they can probably, do something else. Can they actually like have an open mind and understand the reality of the situation? Can they recognize what solar actually is? Can they recognize how the system actually operates? Can they recognize what the system actually should be in order to be the best for human civilization and how we can make it better from there? No. Just because you can install rooftop solar, that doesn't mean you have any fucking clue about that. It's about people like Craig that have an open mind.
Well, they don't have to have an open mind. I have to have the open mind, and they just have to do what I tell them. That's my plan. Thank you for your insights. And then the second thing I want to say, unless you want to follow up on that, Justin.
Well,
okay.
No.
So,
I guess yeah. I'll just ask you one question, and I'm gonna put myself on mute for a while. I got to keep going, but I guess, what are your plans? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you sure that you're accomplishing what you're trying to accomplish? And if you're not, why are you still doing it? And so that's like a 4-part question wrapped into one. And I'm excited to hear your answer for whatever it is you have to say. Thanks, guys.
Okay, what am I trying to accomplish? Save the world and bring Satoshi's values everywhere. Do I know that I'm... Obviously not. I have no idea about... I don't have many ideas. Like, I'm not the expert on anything, but I know how to put things together. So it might not work, but it might work. But I do know that the people that I put together know it, and they can argue and figure it out. So, and then exactly accomplish. So, well, the big, a lot of the miner and solar people are concerned about just being able to get in the market because the solar people or the other people have so many tax credits and other political things that go against them. So my inkling is that, just like the co-op system, we could implement these like once we have a good structure, we could basically implement these systems in the same way they implement these systems during disaster times in remote places. And if people, let's say 3 years from now, people are going to care. But if we start now in these small communities, make sure it's a co-op, make sure it's private, make sure it can't be taken down and someone notices what's happening. Don't call it Bitcoin mining. It's just another solar alternative. So it goes under the radar. Then if we create that system that's solid, then we can start having co-ops and we can make the system and help other people do the system in their own towns.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
so
my
here,
idea.
That's a good idea. Everybody's got it. I've been dealing with that idea since fucking the mid-aughts. And here's what I'd have to say as an expert, as like
Tell me.
I'm telling you right now,
Okay.
as the number one in the country for sure. Like internationally renowned, yes. Number one in the fucking world, maybe. So here's my humble opinion on everything you just had to say. How do you know it's gonna work? And then even if it does, I'm gonna post something in the nest here in a second. What show me my tweet. Show me which 5 acres per megawatt a jungle in El Salvador or the Congo or the fucking the Sonoran Desert or wherever, the old growth forest in North Carolina. What 5 acres per megawatt are you going to cut down to establish your idea or the idea of solar as a good engineering solution for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish? That's my point. Okay. So like, even if you think I
don't get it.
Yeah, I know you don't. Okay. And that's the point. You don't get it. Right. And so
Let me
who are you to
help
think
y'all out a little bit.
Tell me more.
Y'all are
I'm a solutions person, Dustin. Anything you throw at me, I'll fix it.
y'all are actually
I'll
on the
find a
same
way. So
team.
tell me everything.
All right, so
Tell me.
let me explain for a second, Justin. I think, Satoshi, what you're looking for is just reliable, cheap energy in not first world countries.
So I can get that. Let's presume that I can get that, and let's presume that I just need to know what the system is to install and take over a village.
Yeah. So if I were you, because hydro is not as well developed in non-first world countries, that I've seen a lot of these micro hydro facilities where they set up these generators. Oh shoot, what's that? Macro, maybe you can help me out. What's that company in Africa that does that off grid?
Gridless.
It's Gridless.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Satoshi, just look up Gridless. You could do exactly what they do. Like, you wouldn't even have to invent a new model. Literally just go find them, do what they're doing in your part of the world. They're doing, I think, Justin, correct me if I'm wrong, would that be a good place to start to get Bitcoin miners up and running off of the local energy in these underdeveloped worlds?
Yeah. Greg,
let me-
here comes
can I-
Greg dropping a
can I-
bomb. 5 seconds and then I'm done. Okay. You know what I see when I see water flowing? You know what I see when I see a pond or a lake with a stream coming in and a stream going out? I see kilowatts. I see megawatts. That's it. Micro hydro everywhere, at your house, at the golf course, at whatever. Okay. Craig just nailed it right there.
Let me, if I could, just give some points of clarification here for Satoshi. Can you guys hear me fine? First of all, I just want to make sure because I'm kind of in and
I can hear you.
I'm in and out of good and bad service areas, so forgive me if I cut out. But so when Justin asked his original question of which 5 acres per megawatt do you want to cut down to put your solar up, really what he's getting at there is solar has an energy density issue, and you can't get around it. It's just physics, right? There's only so much solar energy that hits a square foot of Earth. And because of that, you have to cut down large swaths of forest if you want to have the same amount of power output that you get from more energy dense sources. And so understanding the concept of energy density is extremely important if you want to understand why solar has major limitations. Then you take into account not only, let me finish real quick, not only does it have an energy density issue, but it has an intermittency issue, right? So no matter what, even if you say you cut down that 5 acres and you get your 1 megawatt, well, you only get that on average about 20% of the time, depending on where you're at globally. Maybe it's 25. Maybe it's 15,
I think you're rugging.
But
Macro, I think you're rugging again.
Yeah, he is rugging just a little bit.
But I don't think
Any
Satoshi is
better now?
for. I don't think Satoshi
Yeah, I'm
wants
not.
solar. That's not what she's saying.
No,
Thank
no,
you, thank you,
I wasn't saying
thank
that.
you, Craig.
Can you still hear me?
I think a little better.
I wasn't saying. Okay, just to clarify before you go on forever, I didn't say I want solar. I was
I
saying
wasn't going on
comparing the way
forever.
solar has been. No. I'm no. I was saying.
I didn't
I
get
just
to
want to
finish
clarify
my
one
point.
thing. I wasn't talking about solar. Go ahead. Okay, I'm stopping.
Oh no. Yeah, you're still in a bad area, Macro. Maybe wait till you get to some more bars. Yeah, Satoshi, maybe more clarify what you're saying, because when I first heard you say, I knew you weren't talking going solar. I think it was just the first word that came out of your mouth.
Okay,
And you've got
sorry.
two solar
Maybe
sensitive
yeah.
people, in Justin and Macro.
Okay, so I was not. I said the word. Okay, I was making a parallel comparison. So basically, I was kind of saying the way that solar has been implemented different places, and it has received some hindrances from government. For example, if you install solar as a private owner, you're going to get taxed, but the school can do it because it's a nonprofit. So I know about those things in solar, and I do understand that there are some similar hindrances in Bitcoin mining and producing energy into the miners and such, and gathering that energy. So I was thinking of a strategy where it would be installed. It wouldn't be called Bitcoin mining. It would just be a power source, and then it would be implemented to skip through the loopholes of, getting persecuted. That's what I was saying. So
All right. Okay. No, that's great. That was awesome. Okay, but this is really good, and thank you for clarifying. But here's something interesting.
Yeah.
Everything you said is like for the most part true. But guess what? The reason they're getting taxed and the schools aren't, but the reason everybody else is over $600, and I was working on this issue with the federal government back in 2012, is because you are an energy producer. And just like every energy producer, you get taxed on the electricity that you produce and then sell. And when you have it on your rooftop or you have it on your commercial property or whatever, and you're selling it back to the grid in whatever form it may be, net metering, this, that, or the other thing, and it's over $600, you get taxed as an energy producer. So there's just one example. And I've got a lot. And Macro knows this, Craig knows this. But the point is, yeah, all right, cool. Thanks.
Justin, what if you're only selling to a private group of business owners that are part of that business, like a co-op?
Yeah, okay.
You're not selling to the
exactly. Okay, so this is interesting. Now, one of the bills that I've been working on with Satoshi Action Fund from the very beginning, it hasn't gone anywhere. It had some traction in New Hampshire, and I was talking to my people in North Carolina, was a microgrid bill, like giving the opportunity for entities that wanted to establish their own generation off the grid, to give them the opportunity to do so in a regulated market that otherwise would give the full jurisdiction to the regulated monopoly of electric service to the community. So guess what? It didn't work. It failed. Okay. So like in the US, at least, you can't do that, right? At least in regulated markets. And you probably can't do it in deregulated markets either. So, okay, now what were we talking about? Well, we're going to see, because actually it's getting really interesting. Shit's hitting the fan. And Apple, Amazon, Facebook, Google, Netflix, Microsoft, they all realize that we're capacity constrained. After 20 years of dicking around with wind, solar, and now batteries, it doesn't matter. We have added zero capacity to the system, and they know it. And guess what they want to do? They want to build out data centers, and they need capacity. So they're going to go through the regulated utility model process, but guess what they're also going to do? And they're just going to fucking build their own SMRs. Okay. And that's going to happen. One of them is going to happen first. And that's one of them's finally going to break the hypnosis of wind and solar. And I think it's going to be Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Google. They're going to do it because everybody else is too emotionally attached and regulatorily captured to make anything meaningful happen in the foreseeable future. So let's all cheer for them to build this stuff for their own sake, for their own data centers, disconnected from the grid, show the world how it's done, and then the regulated monopolies, the bureaucrats in Washington, the chairman of FERC, they will recognize what needs to actually happen. And if they want to ignore it, it's up to them. But if they don't, then it's going to be obvious. And then I'm doing my own playbook in El Salvador, right? And the world can watch that. And Bukele showed the world how to put a country on the Bitcoin standard. And now with me down here, he's going to show the world how you can very simply, by ignoring the distraction of solar, wind, and battery, and focusing on dense, durable, reliable, affordable, clean generation like geothermal and nuclear, you can accomplish a whole lot in a little bit of time. And that's going to be another example for the world. So it is going to happen. And let's just cross our fingers it happens before it absolutely needs to.
That's the truth, bro. And like your drive on that is super encouraging to hear. Thank you for all the explanation. It informed me a ton. I didn't know a lot of what you just said. And yeah, solar sensitive. I heard that word earlier. That was a good one. I will use that in other platforms from here on out. I'm sorry. I'm solar sensitive.
Can you guys
yeah,
hear
but
me now?
hold on a sec. It is funny, it's cute, and maybe it's helpful, but like, don't get it twisted, okay? There's a little pejorative in there. I'm not solar sensitive, okay? I'm not. I am like human civilization running out of durable, reliable, affordable energy, and like going into a cul-de-sac dead end where there's nothing but ashes, and then we are just another story of sometime, some point, some later on in the future, a phoenix rises. Okay, yeah. Guess what? It's happened before. It can happen again. So, am I solar sensitive? Yeah, maybe, but it's not because like I don't, it's not an emotional thing. It's a physics thing. It's an engineering thing. It's a human flourishing thing. So we just need to be careful with how we use a term like solar sensitive.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe it's solar aware, right? Like that's what the
That's
term should
good.
be.
That's good. And I was
Did you
definitely
guys?
not calling
Sorry
you
to butt in.
purposefully that. Sorry, Macro, go ahead.
I'm in and out of signal, so I'm gonna be a little rude and just butt in when you guys can hear me, because I know I have full bars right now. I just wanted to give a quick point of clarification on what I was getting at earlier. I wasn't making the claim that Satoshi, you were trying to do solar. For anybody who was listening, I just wanted to point out the faults with solar and the frustration and the reason that, it can be a bit of a joke. And to Justin's point there was maybe a bit of a pejorative, but, solar sensitive, yeah, but because of what he just said, we're solar aware. We're aware of what it does to the grid and all the fucking issues it causes. And if you're an engineer in the energy industry at all, you get solar and wind shoved down your throat by the regulators constantly. And all of us are sitting here going, this is stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And it's causing problems. And if you're on the ground, you see the problems it causes. I have seen natural gas facilities 5 years old with their high pressure evaporation tube bank completely destroyed from stress cracking, from expansion and contraction, because they have to spin the plant up and down constantly to respond, because there's so much overbuild out of solar. And what that's doing locally is making it so that plant is having to cycle as many times in 5 years as it would have had to do in 20 years. So the plant that was supposed to last for 20 years, giving reliable energy, now only lasted for 5. And now they have to spend $40 million fixing that facility, which was providing 900 megawatts of reliable energy to all the local communities there. And so, yes, we get a little bit, we'll call it spicy. I think that's the term Justin used the other day. We get spicy about it because it's like, yeah, we see how it's actively destroying shit. And it's because the engineers were never consulted, and you just had politicians go, solar makes us feel good, therefore we're going to shove it down everybody's throats because we know better. And it's like, no, you don't actually know better. You really don't. And it's a frustrating problem that I think people are finally starting to maybe become somewhat aware on. And anyways, I'll stop my monologue here with one last little point. There was recently a congressional hearing where I believe somebody from the Department of Energy was asked, how much does the U.S. use, how much does the U.S. energy grid use in a year, basically? And the person couldn't answer the question. And that, to me, tells you everything you need to know, right? You have people making decisions about a system, and they don't even know basic fundamental things about it. And that's really where you get yourself into trouble. And I'll stop there.
No, you're
Yeah, and
totally.
I'm just gonna add just real quick. I'm gonna add one more thing to everything Macro said. He just dropped the mic, but I'm picking it back up and I'm gonna throw it up in the air and drop it even harder because this one's actually kind of funny. Everything he just said about natural gas, totally true. What's the one thing he didn't say? What's the one thing that people that care about solar and wind for reasons that they don't quite understand and are emotionally manipulated into believing in? Reduce carbon emissions. Well, guess what? When the natural gas plant is doing everything that Macro just said, it is also has a lower heat rate. It is operating more efficiently. It has more emissions per megawatt than it would if it was operating how Macro described it should be, but it's not. So even right there, you're making more carbon emissions per megawatt hour, and but nobody cares, nobody understands, and whatever.
Yeah, people locally here are angry that some farmland, a good bit of farmland got taken up for a 50 megawatt facility for solar. And you hear the high ups or the big chairs kind of saying, "Oh, well, none of that energy goes to us locally." Okay, none of the water in the pipes come to me either. Then it really, they're not making the connection between reality and what is actually causing the problem. And the fact that river water comes to my house, it's the true factor. Like, okay. Anyways, go to the hands, Craig. Thanks for having it up so long. Arm's got to be tired.
Oh, no, not at all. I love the discussion.
Craig's
For
fit.
those of y'all, for those of y'all that are not big into solar and battery and wind, like literally a couple of weeks ago, I was a major banner carrier for that team until I heard what Justin had to say, and I just started thinking about the true math behind it. And I really, he sent me no articles. If you just listen to and then what nuclear came the next week, and pretty much articulated the same thing in a different way. And so 2 weeks in a row, my engineering mind was able to wrap my head around the conversation, and it was just so apparent. But here's one cautionary note. Everybody in Tesla, which is pretty much half the planet of first movers, is sold on this issue, me being one of them. Now, I'm hoping that because they're engineers and first movers, they can see what I saw as quickly as I saw it and alter course to geothermal and nuclear. And because their leader, Elon, has often said, and has said like a broken record, I am pro power any way you can get it, even coal, even nuclear. Like, we need more electricity in every single way. He doesn't want to, but at the same time, he's got a lot of believers that are behind the whole mega pack, the solar farms, the solar roof. Now, maybe there's a place for solar on your personal roof if you're in a remote area where it works, but in a free market, you just cannot touch nuclear and geothermal. Like, if the market was truly free.
That's right. And it's never been free. And guess who's been fighting Elon Musk specifically, hand to hand, fucking dirty combat, metaphorically speaking, over and over and over. I know his lawyer's name. I know where he lives. I know what car he drives. And that was in 2014. I know what car he drives now. Okay. And I know what he's going to write and submit to the commission before he writes it. So I've been engaged with Elon Musk specifically on this issue, specifically for 15 years now. And you're right, Craig. I don't know. I haven't won. Okay. I've lost. I'm humble enough to admit that, but I'm ramping things up. I am elevating my position, right? I'm gaining the higher ground, higher than it used to be. We'll see how high I can get it. And then, you know what? We'll see what Elon Musk wants to do. The tweet I sent out that really led to my termination from one of the largest electric utilities in the country, with me studying the most consequential new technology on the system to solve the problems on the system that are critical that they've been trying to solve for the last 15 years, which is what I have been doing. The tweet that got me really in hot water was when I tweeted Elon Musk and I said, hey, because remember what else Elon Musk said? Well, we're not accepting Bitcoin anymore because Bitcoin mining is carbon intensive and, we don't want to ruin the planet. So then 3 months later, I send him a tweet and say, hey, Leon, I'd love to. I think I actually deleted it, unfortunately. It could be historic, but it's gone now. I remember it. You want to share notes on how Bitcoin mining is really positive for the grid and can help? This was back when I was still like, help integrate renewables onto the system, maybe even help build out electric vehicle charging network infrastructure, like have your people contact my people. And I don't know if that ever happened. It was a joke, but maybe it did. Maybe his people did contact my people, and then I get a severance package. So whatever. The point is, I'm not done yet. I'm not done with Elon Musk yet, and I might lose the rest of my life, but I'm gonna increase my odds of winning every fucking year, every hour. I'm doing it right now. I just gotta figure out where my lawyer's office is. But anyway, yeah, Elon
Yeah,
Musk
well,
is number one.
yeah, I would say that Elon does have the ability to pivot. I've watched him pivot several times, like especially when he went to stainless steel instead of the carbon fiber for SpaceX. And I can go down the list of thousands of pivots that he's made that he said, "Holy shit, we are dead wrong on this. Shut that down, cut that out. We're going this direction." And he does it all the time. This is a big one though, because he's bet heavy on solar and grid scale batteries, not separate from the cars, transportation. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Hey,
batteries. I think that's a
and
separate issue.
here's Craig. Here. Let's just put a little bow on it, and let's give a big shout out to Macro, because he's the one. Like this is my new approach, and it's going to take me a while to get there, but when I hit him with it, it's going to be, I think, pretty effective. Elon, you like solar? Good. Let's put it in outer space. That's where it belongs. That's what it was designed for. You just reduce the cost of getting stuff into out of orbit. Okay. Now let's put a bunch of solar panels out there. Let's create DC ASICs, and let's stay within the hash horizon, like Macro says. And let's do that with the solar. All right, Elon, sound fair? Done. I think that wins.
Well, he is big on the small nuclear, like the CCAN size nuclear. One of his big SpaceX guys branched off and started a little known company that's pioneering that. So I know he's looking for massive.
Yeah, he's looking
All
for
these guys.
massive governments. He's looking for massive government subsidies to focus on nuclear now, and that's fine. I'm going to cheer it. At least he's finally going to be getting massive government subsidies for something that
Hey,
actually
look,
will work.
sometimes you got to take the win when you can get them, and if they're going to throw subsidies at something that's good,
Man, every time Macro gets to talking, he gets in these bad areas. We lost you again.
Yeah,
I see argument.
he's right. He's right. It's all about the outcome, guys. Elon Musk can be right until he dies. He can be the most influential, powerful person. Like history books can be written all about him. I don't care. But if he agrees to transition to nuclear and then put solar in outer space with DC Bitcoin mining, like I don't care. Give him all the credit. Good, Elon. I'm glad you got there. I think that's what Macro was saying. Is it's about the outcome. My ego, I don't care. I just want humans to flourish.
I agree. I don't need any of the credit. Let's just get
Trader
it right.
Joel, did you have something to add to the conversation as well?
Yeah, I did. This is a question for Justin, but it might be of more general relevance. I missed the first half hour to 40 minutes of the show, so stop me if this has already been covered. But I'm here in El Salvador too, and we definitely have an energy need, a low cost energy need, because we're spending a lot of money on air conditioning, especially down the beach. And where I live, and the one of the biggest issues here is that there's a lot of points of failure for this grid, and so our power goes out fairly frequently because because there are a lot of places for the delivery of the energy to fail. So my question for you, Justin, if I'm assuming, if I heard you right, that you're working on some energy solutions down here, and as a more general question, what's a good way to make this energy production and delivery decentralized so that there aren't as many points of failure?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Hopefully I'll be at the beach. Maybe I'll rent a car today. Where are you at, El Zonte? You want to meet up Palo Verde? I'll be there.
Yeah, we're actually in San Blas, but so
Okay,
it's a
well,
little closer to the.
DM me where I can meet you. But here, let me answer your question.
Yeah, you got it.
Awesome. 3-part policy. Very simple. It addresses all of his concerns and then some. One, eliminate the distraction from the emotional attachment to solar, wind, and battery. 100%. Completely gone. Done. It doesn't exist. Two, focus intently with your brightest people. I'll do my part, invite me in or not, but at least listen to these 3 policies. And then if you want me to play a part, cool. If not, that's fine. I'm going to go to the beach. But number 2 is focus intently on geothermal. Nayib Bukele just sent out a tweet today or sometime. I don't know. I don't pay that much attention to him, but I will. They just increased their geothermal plant efficiency macro. You're going to love this. You probably already saw it by upgrading their pipes on their geothermal plant in Berlin. I just went and saw it today. I'm scheduling an invitation for myself because they wouldn't let me in, but that's okay. That's good. Like, I'm glad they didn't let me in. They should not have let me in because I showed up unannounced, uninvited. But I will be invited very soon. The point is, you focus on that, and then you also focus on upgrading your transmission and distribution systems so that stuff like what you're talking about, unreliability with the distribution of power, decreases. Okay, now is it decentralized? Maybe not. Does that matter? I don't know. Like, what's your objective? Do you want reliable, affordable, clean, durable energy? Like that, for me, that's what it is. Okay, decentralized is number 7 on the list. Okay, and eventually, I think we were talking about it before, we will get to decentralized because a 1 megawatt SMR in a jungle, and it stands up a microgrid that also is connected to the grid and makes the transmission and distribution system stronger. That is decentralized because it can just operate on its own. But
Tell me what
it's not
SMR
the main
stands for.
goal.
What does
So,
SMR stand for?
small modular reactor in reference to nuclear generation. So they should probably have an N in there, but they don't. It's just SMR, small modular reactor, referring to nuclear.
Yeah, I have conversations about this with a lot of people that live down here because we're expats. So we're the reason we came here is to get away from tyranny and to think more broadly about things. So we talk about what the future is going to be like, and we look at the infrastructure, and then we think to ourselves, okay, if we get a little plot of land somewhere in the jungle, how do we get power for ourselves, or how do we get access to power where there's no transmission of it? So,
Microhydro. Craig just talked about it. Microhydro. You got flowing water in El Salvador for sure. It's been raining the last week, right?
oh yeah,
So there it is.
we look at properties that have rivers in it, and there are a lot of people who are building little hydroelectric turbines, little ones. So they're getting some power out of it. It's just if that's not available to you because not all properties have access to rivers, then what do you got? So these are the questions that I'm asking, and I'd be really interested in hearing more about SMR.
Well, SMR is going to have a bunch of regulatory issues around it globally. So I would just say, the shortest path is just to find, until you know for sure every river has been found and bought up as a property for microhydro, don't even mess with anything else because it's orders of magnitude more expensive to get, maybe on the border of impossible to get a small nuclear power plant on your property for the individual or even the group of people or even the city or even because that stuff is highly regulated globally. So I would just say, while the getting's good, just go grab every piece of property with a river on it and put microhydro on it. And that's going to be your first step in a country that's underdeveloped as far as infrastructure. So I wouldn't even consider any other potential outcome, because right now, if you're in a third world country, or not a third world, but where the dollar really goes far, then you're like the king that can have the pick of all the land in the country because you can just afford it. Just go buy all the land with rivers on it, with flowing water. Just look for flowing water. That's your source of wealth right there. Now in
Archie, do you
America,
have something to add to the conversation as well?
yeah.
Oh, Archie, are you there? I'm sorry, Craig. I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were all finished.
That's okay. Maybe he's got to press his. He's on mute still. I don't know if he. Oh wait, he almost got
Did he
it.
give me permission to speak?
Yeah,
Archie,
for sure.
yes, go
You can
ahead.
jump in if you want to chime in this conversation. Definitely.
To mention to argumentative bear, just an option. What is a energy source that is available everywhere in El Salvador? And that is the sun that comes up every morning. And so you don't need to necessarily, if you know, it's great if you're by a river and you can get that hydro, but if you can get some solar energy everywhere. So I would suggest solar plus battery as an option for your energy source, because it is decentralized. You don't need, like it lines up with being an expat.
Yeah, I think we've covered a lot of the topics today on kind of like the differences between solar and kind of cutting down trees and making room for that on like a property that you buy, like maybe like Joel said, like buying something in the woods. How do you make that accessible without having to maybe cut down trees or make do with that, or it is kind of tricky there. I saw Joel still had hands up, and some people jumped down, so feel free to come up, ask a question, or even change the topic if y'all want to.
No, I was just wanted to add the bit about solar, and just I know that I'm not a particularly big fan of solar for various reasons, not the least of which is the intermittency and unreliability for it. But when I asked about decentralization, I was the kind of conversations we have down here revolve around how do we ensure reliability for ourselves, so when the power goes out for 8 hours, which it has before, that we can have access to it. And so that's either tapping into a grid of some kind that's reliable, or it means finding a power generator for ourselves. So that means going out and getting a diesel generator or something like that. I'm not a big fan of solar for other reasons too, not the least of which is the health issue. I don't, it generates a lot of dirty electricity, so it's not the healthiest thing for us. We don't have an easy time sleeping unless we turn off the Wi-Fi at night. So those are the things that we're concerned about, and so it's not really a matter of waiting until the grid improves. We're just looking for interim solutions as well. So I just wanted to clarify that. I don't know if we'll get a generator or not, but those are the questions we're asking.
I would say if you look into solar, to me does make sense in remote areas, and so I think the thing that Justin and Macro are focused on is grid scale for cities. So we're talking like 1,000 megawatts is the size they think of, and tens and hundreds of plants this big. So that's a different question than a couple of houses, which could probably just use the solar panels as the roof tile, and then use batteries to produce that clean, perfectly clean, consistent energy 24/7. And then you just build the solar panels to where they charge, the batteries nonstop. So even if you have a cloudy day or something, and then of course you have to build your structures to where they're going to be resistant to hail and wind, which is a challenge, but the solar industry is getting there. But as far as solving the world's problems of energy, Macro and Justin are correct that it's too small. Like you need massive power, like 1,000 megawatt size power production. But for the individual, I think solar in remote areas is a decent solution. If in lieu of running water and having to build your own power generation plant off of natural gas, I mean, unless you can get a natural gas line, or you have like in some parts of West Texas where it's just in the middle of nowhere, but you've got an old abandoned natural gas well that could probably to the end of time, but it's not enough for commercial use or industrial use. And yeah, you just find little pockets of natural gas or something like that you can put big generators on. And people are doing that right now for Bitcoin mining all over Texas, where these wells are so far away from pipelines. So they just put a big sea can of Bitcoin miners and a natural gas generator. So I'm not sure if there's a big oil or petrochemical industry in El Salvador, which there is in South Louisiana and Texas. So there's a bunch of abandoned wells that works for. But you just got to look for that cheap energy. Outside of that, yeah, I mean, the sunlight hits the ground every day. So that's an alternative, but it is probably the most expensive of all the other alternatives that you can think of.
The solar is dirty, so I wondered if you could clarify what that means.
He just means dirty power, but if you push it through a battery and you actually get all of your power from the battery, and the solar is there merely to charge the battery, then that cleans up the power. But if you run directly off the solar panel and you don't have an advanced system or an inverter that kind of cleans it up, you can get spikes. You'll get high voltage, low voltage, depending on where the sun is. So that's why it's important to push it through the battery, which cleans it up.
And if you don't have the battery, then basically you
Power, or
can't
like
store
not
that excess.
inconsistent, is what he's saying.
Say again.
Does he mean inconsistent or power? Is that what he means by dirty? I'm not sure. Dirty doesn't make sense to me. I don't understand
Well,
that.
when people use the term dirty power, they mean it's voltage variation. So it might go from 100 volts to 140 volts, and it fluctuates in between. It's still technically the 120 volt, like you would call it a 120 volt system. But sometimes it's 100, sometimes it's 110, sometimes 117. You put your meter on it. And like here in Louisiana, you can watch it fluctuate. We have pretty consistent power because we've got all these chemical plants around here that give us all the power in the world. But other areas will have brownouts to where when everybody gets home at 5, turns on their AC, it just almost brings the system to its knees because of drawing so many amps on the grid. And so you'll watch the voltage drop from like 120 down to like 108, which is kind of getting dangerously low and can cause a lot of shorts in the system. A short is where the copper melts and you have a little fire in the wall, stuff like that. So it's not good to do that.
Yeah, Craig, that's exactly what I mean. The voltage spikes, which can have an effect on health and sleep, particularly. It's a problem that made us move from Seattle, among other things. But it's really hard for us. I mean, one of the reasons that we moved to El Salvador was for that. Was that it's a little more remote and the population density doesn't have as. I mean, and I know this is going to change as El Salvador gets to be a more popular destination, but yeah, the idea of having voltage spikes does have an effect on sleep. So that's an issue for a lot of people.
And those voltage spikes, you're saying, Craig, with like smoothing out the power, it would basically capture that extra energy that is spiking and store it in the battery and allow the power to stay consistent. Is that right?
No, the battery. So on one end of the battery, you've got I guess you could call it the charging. And I'm trying to simplify this for y'all, but so you've got the charging in, and so that's what you connect whatever your power source is. If it's the sun, if it's a gasoline generator, whatever, charge, make power, make electricity. I don't care what it is, dirty, intermittent, up and down spiking, but send it all to that battery. Then when you start pulling power out of the battery, it's clean as a whistle, like just if you set the voltage, it stays there, it doesn't fluctuate, and then they even have these what they call power cleaners that you can put even to make it even cleaner if you have some really sensitive, delicate machinery or computers on the back end that cannot take any voltage variations at all. So all data centers have this. They have these battery backups that clean out the power. And so even though you might have a big nuclear powerhouse or coal plant in the local area feeding this building, they pump that power into the battery, and then the computers run off the backside of the battery to clean it up. Because power does get kind of, they call it dirty when the whole city demands power when they get home or in the morning when they turn on their coffee pots. You get these big spikes in the morning, and then you get another big spike in the evening. and those spikes can actually damage expensive and sensitive equipment. So, Joel, it's not just you're sleeping; it's computers don't like dirty power either. Like you're not the only guy on the market that does not like dirty power. You get a bad night's sleep, they might lose a whole bank of computers. So there's plenty of customers out there that demand clean power. So there's plenty of solutions for it. You just got to
And
get a
we have,
decent system on it.
yeah, we have a lot of old infrastructure around here too. So we're probably more subject to voltage spikes here in El Salvador because of that. So we have to put surge protectors on everything.
Yeah, surge protect. I mean, there's all kind of systems you can do to come in. This is what I did for 20 years is work in these big commercial industries. I've mostly worked on like the electric motor side, which is not nearly as sensitive as computer side, but we had enough data centers as customers that we saw these problems. So the solutions are out there, and the solutions are getting very cheap. You can get entire systems off of Alibaba straight from Chinese manufacturers that will build you an entire home system. And I would just buy a bigger system than you need. And that way you're not even coming close to demanding it. And then you can throw on top of it, if you want to do solar panels, that's fine. If you want to do generation through natural gas, maybe I'll have consistent natural gas. But you can even buy these big 500-gallon or 1,000-gallon tanks and just have people, the local supplier of natural gas, just come fill it up quarterly, depending on your usage, as a battery, as a backup, or as primary generation. But those things can be kind of loud, so you have to build facilities around them. So I mean, there's problems in all of it, but I mean, I think it's a cool thing. That it's a great little hobby, and I think the biggest problem is people just don't have extra wealth to tinker with systems like this. But that as the Bitcoiners, you ever heard that? What's that slogan? There will be signs when Bitcoiners become wealthy. I think one of the early signs of Bitcoiners becoming wealthy is the next, once they're no longer having to work and they're looking for little hobbies to do. I think one of the natural hobbies, especially of the men that are wealthy Bitcoiners, is going to be getting completely off the energy grid, becoming energy independent. And that's when they're going to start playing with ordering all the above little trinkets off of Alibaba to come, completely supply themselves with food, with energy, and just become independent. So Bitcoin's going to free them up from their job and have them have enough wealth to be able to say, you know what, instead of buying the Lambos is going to be total energy independence and your own food production, that kind of stuff. And I'm already hearing it. I hear this around Bitcoin conversations all the time about raising your own beef, about raising your own garden, about, buying your own piece of land and building your own citadel. Like that's all coming. And that's just going to make you harder and harder to govern, because just because they can't dilute your money doesn't mean they can't cut your power off. So then what good are you with no power? Or what good are you with no food, with no meat? I mean, there's more than one way to get you to buckle to their will other than confiscating your money. They can confiscate your food. They can confiscate your energy. They can confiscate your connectivity, their internet connection. So really, to be a sovereign individual, think about what you need. You need water, internet connection, electricity, shelter, and property, which is Bitcoin. All five of those have to be in consideration. Otherwise, you're vulnerable. If you lose any one of those, you're done. Like if you lose water, you're done. That has nothing to do with some of the other things you think. You lose food, you're done. You lose electricity, you're done. If you can't communicate with the outside world, your business may be done. Anyway, I'll land it there.
You lose electricity, you're done. I have a little pushback because there are some people that still live and ancestors lived without electricity for a long time. So I mean, there is that factor. But Satoshi's bride, go right ahead. Or Craig, feel free to respond. It's really just like, yeah, we do need electricity. I know that
Well,
like
it's you're
refrigerators are
irrelevant.
nice.
It's like what I mean is when I say you're done, you're not dead. You're just irrelevant. You're no longer part
Yeah.
of the global conversation. You can't
Yeah.
make a difference. You're like the Amish. Same thing without internet connection. I mean, imagine what power would the Bitcoin Daily have without internet connection? like 100% of our power would be dead at that point, except for the people that know each other at meetups. So you get blasted back to insignificance. And that's what we have to be. We have to remain significant and remain powerful. And those are connections to our power.
I just can't
Like,
help but feel like we're just in the MySpace era of Bitcoin, right? We have this social element that's going on. We have these
what does that
builders.
mean? Like, tell me more about that. What do you mean by mind space? I've never heard that
MySpace, like the
phraseology.
MySpace.com was a social platform that
Oh,
took.
yes. I thought you said mind, like M-I-N-D, mind space.
No, MySpace, like MySpace.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where we're at right now in Bitcoin land. I mean, you think about what really took over in MySpace, and it was music. Music really was the thing that like led a lot of people to MySpace, and I mean, you could like add it to your platform. You could like customize your profile. You could put like your top people on there and whatnot. But I think about that as like the builders in Bitcoin now. These are some of the companies that are coming to Bitcoin. Right? These builders, these companies are coming and they're making it usable, they're making it fun, they're making it, you can do stuff with it now. And so I think that is like the era that we're currently in with Bitcoin, where it's becoming more social, it's becoming more like you said, if you don't have electricity, you wouldn't have power to communicate with the people that you need. Yeah, that's a great point on why you do need electricity. It is a necessity. Same reason you need a refrigerator. You need to keep your milk cold so that you don't have to, drain your cow dry because it's the only cow you got. It's important to not just think it's scarcity mindset, but think of it as a preservation mindset. So
Yeah.
I
And
don't.
I always like to look at it as, I've studied war a lot. I've studied like Sun Tzu's Art of War, and a lot of that's used in business. So I always have this kind of tactician mindset. And so imagine you're invading a nation. Before you roll in with the troops and your ground troops, you fly in at night and you take out their eyes and their ears. So you take out their communication, their ability to coordinate among each other. That's why censorship was such a terrible thing to do to a movement that was organizing itself on Facebook. It was so nasty because it was like, we're not going to beat you in a fair fight. We're going to literally cancel the accounts, the Facebook accounts of all the organizers that are putting together groups of people so that we can unite under a banner and organize, an offense, a defense of something of some sort. And so it's a very militaristic, tactical thing to do. It's to take out communication. And the other one is electricity. If you can take out your opponent's eyes and ears ability to communicate and their electric grid and their bridges, now they can't move. They can't do anything that electricity does. They can't talk to one another. And you can then your tanks can just roll through and take them out because they're all spread out. They have no idea where you're coming where you're coming from. And so that's why it's important to use things like Signal to organize in-person meetups, which is what today's supposed to be about, to get to know one another, set up your own peer-to-peer, Bitcoin exchanges, have your little circular economies, because you're tougher and you're stronger as you inter-network among each other in different ways and don't have 100% of your communication here on X or on Facebook or whatever. It's important to actually build a real community around yourself, because communities like tribes are super hard to beat because they're very strong when you have like a decent group of people. But when you're just isolated by yourself, now you're an easy target, and they can very quietly come and just silence you or cut you off or make you irrelevant. And they've done it. They've done it. I think we all saw that in 2020 with the pandemic or plandemic, whatever they want to call it, is they were able to isolate all of us at the snap of a finger. And so it is important that we have these communities. And I think, to Joe's point, that's probably why he's moved to El Salvador for some of this stuff, is to build community of like-minded people that aren't censored and regulated and bullied. Anyway, I'll land it there.
Mic drop. Dude, I have nothing to follow up with that. That is absolutely killer. I need water and probably a banana. A bagel would be really nice too right now. Is anybody else eating breakfast? Y'all thinking about breakfast?
I'm walking in my park. I tell you, look, here's the new protocol for our Bitcoin Daily listeners. At 7 o'clock, well, if you're central, start walking. Listen to the Bitcoin Daily. What a great habit, if you can. 2 hours of walking plus this mentally stimulating and building community and social network. Like it has been probably the best thing I've ever started. Plus, you guys got me on the carnivore diet, so that's been helping out a whole lot. But yeah, great habit to start.
Craig, we used to do this. We used to listen to the show just while walking on the beach here in El Salvador. So that's pretty awesome, especially for us. It's pretty close to sunrise. But hey, I remember Satoshi's Bride had a hand up. Did you want to add something to the conversation?
Well, I wanted to talk about another topic. So if we're done with energy, I would like to change the topic.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm going to be hosting a hackathon, a 1-week hackathon in Nashville. And I'm not going to physically be there, but I have the whole thing set up. So I just wanted to put it out there. If anyone's going to be in Nashville for both the Mining Disrupt and the Bitcoin thing, and are interested in either helping to organize, or if anywhere from beginner developer to, and I'm talking nothing, you can be nothing. I'm nothing. Okay. So from nothing to hero, if you want to be involved in a hackathon, what is a hackathon? It is similar to a startup competition. And then we're going to be playing with different tech stacks, and that's it. So I wanted to throw that out there. It's, I don't have exact dates, but basically 1 week, the week of the big event, but also the mining thing. We could think of it like a big co-work space where there's a competition. Maybe there's some talks, but the hackers will be hacking. People might be coming and just looking at them, and that's what it is. So if anyone wants to be involved, you can DM me, or yeah, you can DM me.
Can you kind of demystify it a little for us as far as hackathon, what that actually is? Like, do you need a computer? What will you be trying to do? Because I have no background in coding or anything. But if somebody said, "Hey, I want to start a Bitcoin miner," I could kind of demystify for it a little and say, "Look, it's not that hard." Or even getting a hardware wallet. Like, we make it sound difficult when we talk about taking your Bitcoin into custody and stuff. But let me demystify it for you. It's a little device. You plug it in, and I can walk people through it. So is there some version of that you can give us?
Yeah. So basically what's going to happen is the advanced hackers, developers, they will be working on challenges for prizes. So there'll be different tracks. Let's say mining related, let's say layer 2, cryptography related, and then 3, something else. Okay. So the advanced hackers, based on their qualifications or their teams, they're going to be working on that. But for the beginners, hopefully we'll get some Raspberry Pis donated, and then it'll be kind of like a build it workshop. And maybe like every day at a certain time, there will be like, come and build it, get your hands dirty, something like that. And so, and then the other thing, actually, so for like, I would say beginner would be just setting up the Raspberry Pi, having fun doing that. And then maybe medium to advanced will be, if you don't want to participate in the hackathon and hack for a week and not sleep and eat pizza, then you can actually the way that the Casey guy designed the runes protocol is a basic introductory course to running your own node. So I haven't really like broken it down into simple parts and how to make it easy. I haven't like finished that yet. But then there can be a separate subset of people who are just basically setting up the rune protocol. No emotion, no, things about like shitcoining and things like that. Just simply doing the process that Casey describes will give you the skills to run your own node and be like, go from 0 to hero quite quickly. So I'm just going to borrow that in those instructions and just make it easy. So I want to be able to offer like from zero to advanced challenges throughout the week, and even things that you can just pop in, you know, it's happening. It's like, okay, I'm in Nashville. I want to make sure I go to Raspberry Pi 101 and do that. I want people to be able to schedule it within their week. Like they'll know exactly what time, probably have the same, like Raspberry Times workshop will be the same time every day, something like that. So yeah, I mean, I'm open to suggestions. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard. Like once you start getting deep, it's hard to kind of like know how to like, or what is a beginner thing for someone when you're not a beginner anymore. However, yeah, I mean, I'm going to let people who want to teach suggest, and just make sure there's a balance between some kind of hands-on building things. And about having a computer. Yeah, basically everyone needs to bring their own computer. And I think we can probably provide the Raspberry Pis. They're not very expensive, and we can probably get a few. And that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, just let us know what you got as it comes closer. What we're about 40,
Thanks.
50 days away, I think, from
Yeah,
Nashville.
7 weeks. Yeah, 7 weeks. So probably not going to be finalized until maybe 3 or 4 weeks out, but should have the venue and like the dates within 2 or 3 weeks from now. But these things are relatively simple to pop up, and relatively simple. I might, if we don't have a lot of signups, then I'll make it also online. But I prefer it if it's in person only. But I don't know how many people are going to sign up. I don't know the quality of developers that are going to be there. We'll open it up to online submissions if the case that we have low signups.
Hey, I know Jamie has his hand up, but I just have one follow-up question for Satoshi's Bride. Are people going to be able to use AI in this process?
Ooh, okay, yeah, we can make an AI track. Yeah, when, oh, you mean to code? Oh, absolutely. The thing
Yep.
is the thing is you can't, any tool available, there's no cheating, because everything is cheating pretty much. And no, yeah, there's no restriction. The only thing that's a restriction is, for example, if you are taking another project's whole repo and just using their stuff. And that's also a great line, because you could have worked on something previously and use your own code. So, I mean, that is going to be something like that the judges will review case by case. But using AI, coding with your AI, those are all tools that are the future. So it doesn't matter what you use. Yeah.
Hey, that sounds pretty awesome. It's using AI for coding is, it's it's especially useful, but there is a base knowledge of development skills that are required even to use AI. But you can use AI to teach you that too. Hey, Jamie, what did you have to add?
Yeah, thanks. Right, I didn't know until I had some kind of rough idea, but I didn't know until about 3 or 4 minutes ago when I Googled it what a hackathon is. So I thought, given that we're all about education here, let's take it right back to the beginning. And I have found a Wikipedia definition which says a hackathon is an event where people engage in rapid and collaborative engineering over a relatively short period of time, such as 24 or 48 hours. So that kind of sums up what Satoshi's Bride was describing, where people who just, it sounds great. People just get together and do coding and engineering and development stuff. So yeah, that sounds really good. If I was local, I would go.
But there was some thought that maybe if there weren't enough local people, that people could join online as well. Was that on the table?
Oh, absolutely. And all the workshops would be live streamed, maybe not live, or maybe live, I don't know. But all the workshops, if any, like, speakers that are doing everything will be recorded so people can see it later. As far as the competition, yeah, that's what depends on the signups, because it's always better to have everyone in the same room, and the synergies and all the things, and the mentors can like really work with teams. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I don't make all the rules, so we'll see what happens. But either way, there will be different workshops that will be streamed, probably streamed live, probably streamed on Facebook, YouTube, and all these platforms. So there'll be opportunities for you to listen in for sure. That's easy.
Oh, yeah, I meant participation by hackers who want to, participate in the competition.
Yeah, I haven't made a decision yet, but we'll see. I'll decide
Gotcha.
maybe 3 weeks out. Yeah.
Hey, is this something that is part of the official list of events, or is this sort of a side thing?
I think every side event is a side event. I'm not sure. Usually the conferences have a list of like, hey, this is the week's events. I'm not sure if the Bitcoin magazine has that yet, but I have a feeling they do. So I haven't added it yet. Maybe I'll add it to that. Yeah, everything is like everything's not official. So I haven't heard of anyone else doing a hackathon. So I'm gonna do it.
Cool. Awesome. Decentralized. Love it. Craig, what did you want to add to the show?
Yeah, appreciate you bringing that up. And anybody else that's doing anything, any kind of get together in Nashville, we're working with Brad, because Brad's part of our founding team here on the Bitcoin Daily. But he's doing, so before he came onto the Bitcoin Daily, he had a mining endeavor company where he spun up these smaller mines. And when I say small, they were still big commercial setups, but it's not like a home miner. And then he has this mass mining mastery class that he does. So, and then we kind of found each other. So he became part of the Bitcoin Daily team. So he's doing like a 2-day mining event leading up to the Nashville Bitcoin conference. And he's collaborating pretty closely with the main conference, because one issue they had is people would see mining vendors there, but really knew nothing about mining. And so you can attend Brad's 2-day convention or course and really get up to speed on what mining is and take a off-site tour of a mining facility and get your head wrapped around mining. So if you're going to Bitcoin Nashville conference, curious about mining, I would recommend you show up a couple days earlier and go to Brad's so you can really understand what it is you're looking at and probably have more fruitful conversations to the vendors at the main conference after you've been through Brad's course. And then the Bitcoin Daily is one of the sponsors of that. So Brad's allowed us to have our big logo and we're hosting it. And so we're going to use that as our kind of get together and party around one of these offsite events for the Bitcoin Daily for anybody that wants to attend.
Wow, that's really cool. I didn't realize that was happening, but that's really cool. Hey, it looks like we've got another person who wants to join the conversation. Kelly, what did you want to say?
Good morning. I just had a quick question regarding the hackathon with the Raspberry Pi aspect, just so I understand. Is it so someone like me, a normie, I bought a Raspberry Pi 4 years ago, but I didn't open it. Is that something that I could potentially still use?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you have our own, that would like help us so that we don't have to have one for you. Yeah, that's great. Dust it off, and bring it over. That will be wonderful.
Really? But this is in Nashville, you said. Is that right?
Yeah, this is
Your
going to be
hackathon?
a real life event in Nashville during the week of that Bitcoin conference.
During the week of, okay, I'm writing that down. If I can, I most certainly will. And if not, like as you suggested, hopefully maybe it would be online. But it's something I've been wanting to, get brave enough to do again.
Well,
try.
You're brave enough for thinking about it and saying it today. If you want to DM me your email, then I'll put you on the email list when the information is ready.
Oh, wow. Really? Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I will.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Is it Kiana? Kian?
Oh, well, my name is Kellyanne, Cayenne, just because it's just X, and you have to be a cartoon.
Like cayenne pepper.
Well, my name is Kellyanne, and my brother couldn't introduce me as Kellyanne when he was little. He would say, "This is my sister Cayenne."
That's sweet.
Yeah, and then that picture actually my son drew when he was 10, and that was 5 years ago when I first learned what an NFT was. So I thought that was really cool. I wanted to bring that to his attention, my son, at that time.
Wow, your son's got talent because that looks beautiful.
Thank you. I thought so too. Well, he's 15 now, but thank you.
Hey, Satoshi's Bride, do you have any suggestions on how to prep a Raspberry Pi before coming to the hackathon? What kind of operating system it needs? Like what kind of, how would you bring your Raspberry Pi to the hackathon?
Yeah, in your purse. Yeah,
Okay.
you don't have to prepare anything. You just bring the material, or hopefully we'll have a lot to supply, and you just learn. Maybe we'll do groups, and people can build it together, and then pick it apart and do it again every day, kind of thing.
Awesome. Hey, Craig, what did you want to say?
No, I just wanted to highlight the way Satoshi said, if you're brave enough to say it or think it, then that's enough. And that really is all it takes for just about everything we talk about here on this show. Like, it's just a matter of getting off zero, starting. And when I say get off zero, it could be getting off zero on going to a Bitcoin meetup, getting off zero, starting a Bitcoin meetup, getting off zero, buying your first Bitcoin on exchange, then taking it off exchange. Like, all of it's getting off zero. And most of us are on so many zeros. Like, we've got Bitcoin in custody, but maybe it's not on a hardware wallet, or we don't have it hammered out in steel, or we haven't gone to our first Bitcoin meetup, or we haven't come up to stage and speak or started posting. So I would just say go find 3 or 4 things that you're on zero with and just speak it into existence. Just say, I'm going to start doing this next week. And then next week roll around, just do it. Take that first step. Don't make it the bar too high. Just do something. Could be inviting someone to listen to this space or sharing the space with somebody. Anything as simple as that. And if you spend your life constantly getting off zeros, and if you go from 0 to 1, you can go from 1 to 2 on all of them, and you can look back at your progress that you've made. But most of the time, we just sit in fear, which paralyzes you. It keeps you on zero on everything, and that's what you got to do. You just got to move. Life is movement. You have to move. You're dead if you're just sitting still. Don't be that dead rock. Be life that's flourishing and growing. So, love what you said there, Satoshi.
I love that mantra, Craig, can carry multiple years, multiple decades even, because like you said, there's going to come a time, hopefully, where Bitcoiners don't necessarily have to work and they can pick up hobbies. And that's going to be ever true is, keep the movement, keep going, say it into action, and it will become action. And, my hobby is stacking sats. I don't think that mantra will change for a good while. So that's mine that I'll carry. But did anybody else have something else they wanted to add to the conversation?
Well, I can keep going on what you were saying is that you just, and I would say in addition to stacking sats, I would, and I know I probably shouldn't say this, but I do encourage people to put all your stuff in Bitcoin. It's what I did. Maybe I'll just say, look, I'll tell you what I did. And you have to make your own decision. I can't tell you what to do with your finances. But it has been such relief to know that my wealth, none of it contributes to all the bad things that fiat does. Fill in the blank of what you've seen governments that control fiat do with their money, with your money. And now I don't contribute to that. So anytime I see a war going on or some crazy educational thing being pushed on students, I'm like, well, I didn't help fund that, because I'm not one of these. I put 30% of my wealth. I put 10% of my wealth. I want a little bit of price exposure. I'm 100% in. I have zero wealth outside except a Tesla and some clothes. That's it. All of my wealth is in the Bitcoin. I sleep better at night. I don't care what the price is. It goes up and down because I'm spending Bitcoin that I bought a while ago. I'm not going to spend my whole stack just to buy some hamburgers.
Craig, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think there's going to be a Bitcoin Daily Show where you don't mention Tesla as well as your Bitcoin?
No, man, look, I love Elon Musk. He is my hero. And I'm not saying he's perfect, but man, I love how he just goes at it. I love his drive. I love how he just, gives the middle finger to anybody who he cares to give the middle finger to, whether it's a government, whether it's a segment of the population, whether it's he was a California Democrat. The things he has done to piss off the left. And he's got just as many enemies on the right. Like this guy just is collecting enemies left and right. And I love how he goes for it, honestly. And even though I may or may not agree with some of the stuff he does, but I like seeing a guy that's in there as just a fighter, and he just goes
Craig,
big.
he's an engineer. I mean, in his heart, he's an engineer.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
he's gonna try to make something, and then he's gonna try to break it, and he's gonna break it so he can make it better. And he does that in every aspect of his life. It's not just spaceships and cars and batteries and whatnot. It's ideas, and
Mhm.
that's what Twitter's supposed to be, or X, whatever. It's he's making stuff to break it, to make it better, and that's what engineers do. And if you are of that mindset, like if this is how you want to live your life, then you love this guy. But if you're the kind of person who lives in an ivory tower and just wants everything to be perfect without fail, then you're going to hate him, because you don't like seeing things broken. You don't like seeing things that aren't perfect. So
Oh,
this kind of engineer versus ivory tower person conflict is something we see play out on a big scale in the world. And Elon Musk is an avatar for the engineer side.
Oh, he is. Let me tell you how much he stresses out great engineers. Number one, he has these 5 rules, which I ran all my companies by these 5 rules. But one of the rules is don't make stupid rules. That's rule number one, actually. No stupid rules. Um, and like a stupid rule is because I said so, or because we've always done it that way, and the like. So that's the first
oh,
rule.
Craig, that that phrase, because it's always been this way, because that's how we do it. That
Yes.
that
You want to know
really winds me up.
Oh,
Really
Jamie,
winds me up.
wait till you hear the second rule. Second rule is all rules are wrong. Everything we're doing is wrong. It's just a matter of how wrong. Nothing we're doing is right. In every system, if there's a 5-step system, probably step number 3 doesn't need to be there. And so he's like, question all rules. And then he
Uh,
says, he puts an asterisk. He says, especially if I made the rule, because nobody questions Elon, and I'm probably the one that needs to be questioned. Because they just think, oh, well, Elon made the rule, so it's got to be right. He's like, no, everything's wrong. It's just a matter of how wrong. Our goal is to be less wrong, not right. It can't be right. No such thing as 100% right. And then
that's yeah,
he's got another rule.
completely agree.
He says, well, he even has this thing that he says, if you're not deleting parts and processes so aggressively that 10% of the time you're like, oh shit, we need that, put that back. And they measure it. If you're not putting back 10% of your deletions, they'll fire you for not deleting aggressively enough and simplifying aggressively enough. Like they literally fire great engineers all the time because they're afraid to take the risk and delete something because maybe we do need that. And that's what engineers do. They're always like, well, just in case, and they leave inefficiencies in there because they're not brave enough to take the risk. And you'll get fired at SpaceX and Tesla for that.
It's what he did with X.
Oh,
He
yeah, they
literally did that with Twitter.
They eat,
He
live, and
said,
breathe
"This
it.
is the standard I expect. If you don't live up to it, you can leave."
Yeah, hey,
Craig, guys, sorry to jump in here. Craig, did you already run through the voting process? Because again, when it comes to Elon, love and hate, I don't know if these are the correct terms. I just heard his line and I agree with him. So what StarX or what SpaceX is doing, right, from impossible to late, I think we should view the guy more in this respect. He really is outstanding. It's impossible. No, it's not impossible. We can do it, probably a little bit later than expected, but we can do it. So, but he is delivering on is, guys, we have rockets which land. I don't, honestly, I never thought that this would come through in my lifetime. Thanks.
Yeah, anything within under the laws of physics can be accomplished. He's like, look, the laws of physics are the only laws. Everything else is a suggestion. And so anytime you put a group of engineers and tell them they have to delete and simplify, 10% of the time they got to put their deletions and simplifications back, you'll get there or you're fired. And then you just put somebody in that seat that wants to get it and work 80 hours a week. And he'll actually recruit people that don't date and aren't married because he wants all of them. And a guy that's married with kids, might want time with his family. So he'll go find and recruit young engineers in their dorm rooms. I mean, I don't know if he does it anymore, but a few years ago, he was still picking up the phone and calling top in their class in their dorm rooms and recruiting them to his companies. So he was very much in the talent acquisition, and still puts on recruiting events for AI and for Neuralink. Most of his stuff that you see him do is merely just recruiting events. So he's got the best and brightest minds working on the problems that he thinks affect humanity the most. And then the rest of us get to fight over the brains that are left. But, he inspires a lot of young engineers. If you want to go to Mars, where else can you go? Like,
But
who else
Craig,
is,
he
who
inspires
else is working on that problem?
but he inspires them, right? So, right? Because seriously, I mean, again, how he can motivate people and really accomplish things which stand out your whole life, and you worked on it. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really admirable.
And I kind of understand why he's not involved in Bitcoin. I mean, as an entrepreneur, I'm more of a community builder. That's kind of where my heart is. If I had to choose between community building and entrepreneurship, but I couldn't feed my family off of community building. So I had to be an entrepreneur for the first couple of decades of my life. But Elon's not like that. He likes to solve problems, and he doesn't see Bitcoin as anything else than just money. And so he'd rather solve the problem of transportation, of energy, of connecting the human mind directly, an interface to the internet, get us to Mars. And, this is what we're going to have to work on anyway once Bitcoin takes over. So, like, what do you do after Bitcoin is the dominant currency? Then what? You still got to work on all your problems that haven't solved any of your, if you're afraid or you're depressed, you're still depressed and afraid. Now you're just rich and depressed.
When Bitcoin takes over, apart from X, which will be Doge.
Yeah. I think he's trolling us with that Doge thing, because he is a major troll.
Oh, he is. Yeah.
He loves hitting those hot buttons.
But no, he is all the stuff you said, and especially about breaking things, and I totally agree. And there's times I've been at places, previous places that I've worked, and such is done whatever way, and there's something that as an outsider I can see, well, clearly that can be done differently, and ask why it's done that way. Because that's the way it's always been done. Oh, if you want to trigger me and really, really wind me up, that's the answer to give, because that's the way it's always been done.
Yeah, he even makes, in his company, he makes you put your first and last name by every rule. So that, because what he found was, he would dig in, he would get on the assembly line and help the engineers try to crack the problems. And they were like, well, why are we doing it this way? And we're like, well, we don't know. It's in the system. And like, well, who made this rule? And they would get digging and find out that the person that made this stupid rule was fired 2 years ago. So from that point on, every single rule in Tesla and SpaceX has a first and last name by it. So you really need to imagine that. So that way, all the mistakes are traced back to you. It just creates such an engineering culture of taking responsibility for your mistakes, your successes, and the performance, and deleting and taking risks. And that's so rare in the world of engineering. That's kind of the opposite way that most engineering departments flow. They're risk averse, not risk takers. And Elon is forcing the most risk averse population outside of accountants to take risks or you're fired. So it's kind of like telling an accounting department to take risks. It's about the same thing as telling an engineering department to take risks. It's so counterculture to most engineering firms.
I mean, this is why Elon needs to be a Bitcoiner, because the idea of taking responsibility for your actions and decisions is entirely part of the Bitcoin ethos. Fiat is the opposite. Fiat allows you to defer or delegate the responsibility of checking into not just the financial decisions you make, but all of the other um, aspects or institutions of life that you have to work within. And the process of using fiat is so opaque and so antagonistic to finding the source of decision making and authority. It's been so diluted and removed from the actual consequences of decisions that are made, that people that operate in the fiat world can behave with impunity because they've separated themselves from the normal incentives and consequences that would exist in a sound money world. So that's why, just trying to tie it back to Bitcoin here, but that is the idea of taking responsibility for your actions. It has a parallel with a good engineering outfit and the engineering ethos that Elon Musk makes, as well as in the financial system. They're part and parcel of each other.
Yeah, I'd be okay if he stayed out of Bitcoin, because I mean, there's got to be something left for us rest of us fools to do. I'd rather him continue to work on Mars.
Yeah, he doesn't have to build Bitcoin systems. He just has to understand how it changes the incentive structures and how it makes people want to make their own decisions and judgments in terms, and so there's no deferral of, the bank's going to handle it. That the very idea of having authority figures try to manipulate interest rates without understanding what's happening on the ground floor is how the incentive system works in fiat. Elon doesn't have to build systems for Bitcoin. He just needs to participate in it because it fits his worldview.
I think he will. I mean, I think he's a Bitcoiner at heart. And he did buy $1 billion in Bitcoin, sold 800. He processed the largest Bitcoin transaction in history when he did it so early on. So that was a major contribution. I think he still has 200 million in Bitcoin. I don't think they took it off the books. And
I sure hope he doesn't have 200 million.
No, it's 200. No, wait, it was $1 billion. He bought $1 billion in Bitcoin.
He didn't buy $1 billion Bitcoin. He bought $1 billion worth of
$1 billion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it was him and Michael Saylor, or I think either Michael Saylor reached out to him and they were saying, "Can you even buy $1 billion US dollars worth of Bitcoin?" And they're like, "I don't know. Let's see what happens." And then he just did it. So not many people can just stroke a check for $1 billion. I can't imagine pressing the buy order for $1 billion. You know how we send a test transaction and maybe parse it out so we don't screw it up? Can you imagine pressing buy on $1 billion order of Bitcoin? I would be terrified anyway. They did.
Does anyone know if that was a market order on some exchange? Because
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
What did they do to the price?
Well, I remember when it happened. It only moved the price from like 37K to like 43 or something like that. And so I thought, well, it can't be a market order. It had to have gone through multiple channels, but maybe it was. So. I don't know.
Maybe so. I'd like to know how it went down.
But that is, I mean, how long did it take to go from 37 to 43? Because that is a big move.
Yeah, I mean, at the time it definitely was, but it happened pretty quickly, as I recall. But you'd have to look at a price chart to be sure.
Interesting.
And then he sold it, so now he's going to get it at the price he deserves, right?
Well, he sold 80% of it. I think he kept 20% of it because he was testing the system both ways. Like, can you buy it and sell it? So he was testing liquidity on both sides.
No, that's true, and that was part of the question that he had about using Bitcoin in your corporate treasury, because as a reserve asset, you're going to need to liquidate it in order to service your company and corporate functions. So So he wanted to test the potential of liquidating it in order to use it as that kind of an asset. So, and I guess it worked. But when he sold it, though, it went down. Like in the interim, he saw, like close to an 80% drawdown of the asset that he still had left. I mean, it went down to 16. So then it went back up. But I mean, there was that kind of a drawdown, which is kind of scary if you're if you don't have diamond hands.
Yeah, he said. I think he still says personally he's never sold any of his Bitcoin. He's only buys. So he's a fan of Bitcoin, but the Bitcoiners are sometimes a little rabid around him, and so he's probably got a bad taste in his mouth from Bitcoiners themselves going at him so hard. But I think as long as he can open up eventually his network, I think he will be one of the early companies that opens up payment rails to be able to use Bitcoin for some of the services. And I think for a while there, you could buy a whole Tesla with Bitcoin. I don't think you can anymore, but so he has pioneered some of that.
I think he reintroduced that. I know that he took that option off the table, but then I think he put it back on. I don't know. Someone want to look that up? But it's also 8:00, so I think we've come to 8:00 here in the current Mountain Time Zone, El Salvador time zone. El Salvador, we don't have daylight savings, so half the year we are Mountain and half the year we are Central. So, hey, Craig, do you want to wrap us up?
Sure. Yeah, thank you. So this is the Bitcoin Daily. I'm Craig and LeBlanc, your host with Logan and Argumentative Bear. We've got Speaker Satoshi, Jamie, Alex, some regulars up here. I see Tracy down in the audience. So thank you to everybody that contributes to the awesome Bitcoin content that's put out every day, 8 to 10 a.m. Eastern on X for probably approaching 230, 240 straight days. Today was supposed to be on meetups. So a lot of times.
Hey, man, we met up. We met up.
That's it. We did meet up on Monday. But if you haven't, well, here's the competition. You're supposed to show up and say how many people attended the meetup. So I actually hosted 3 meetups this week, and I've got another 3 this week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. My biggest meetup had 8 people in Lake Lafayette. And so I'm hoping to have more this week because we had a lot of people out of town. So go to your local Bitcoin meetup, bring somebody with you, meet your Bitcoiners in person. That's kind of the purpose of today's show, is to highlight the importance of meeting and building a local community of Bitcoiners. So
hey, we would have won that one last week. We were at a meetup in El Zonte, and we had about 40 people show up.
Well, that's what counts, is last week, whatever the number was last week.
Oh, I mean, sorry, I meant like last week's show, which was the Friday before that one. So it doesn't count.
Craig,
next time.
Can I give one suggestion?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. I also want to give for all of you who say to yourselves, I am not a developer, I am not technical, I challenge you to go to meetup.com and look up BitDevs and go to one of the Socratic meetings. Like, those people never see other kinds of humans. So they'll actually be excited that you're there. They won't criticize you. They're engineers. They're not emotional. It's like a healing experience. I promise. Just go to one. And then you won't care about anything anymore. You're like, oh yeah, Bitcoin physicists, and they know what they're doing.
Oh my God, that is so true. You think of a room of people that look like Vitalik, and that they never see real human beings. That's so true.
Yes.
No, just be nice. Just go be nice. Ask a question.
Hey, I'm one of them. I'm speaking from first-hand experience.
Nice.
Yes, they don't see sunlight often, and you will feel very humbled by the depth of knowledge they have on said topic. But they're a really nice group of people. I've only been to one up in Nashville when I went, and it was quite an experience. And I had great conversations and follow-up coffees. They're a little skittish and cautious, some of them, at least the few I met with, but really awesome people.
They remind me of those guys that ruined the curve in math when I was in high school and in calculus and engineering. Like these are the guys that ace the test in their sleep. Brilliant people.
Yeah. If you're shy,
Yeah.
go to Costco and get a box of cookies and just stand there with the cookies. They'll come to you.
Yeah.
You know? You need strategies.
I'm not claiming to be anything like that on the level of Vitalik and such people as far as intelligence and coding and all that goes. No way. But as far as the not a social and introvert and kind of skittish, like Craig just said, yeah, not so much now. We've been working on it, but yeah, that's kind of how I certainly used to be.
Yeah. And they'll give you hope because you'll think, at least what I thought when I left my first BitDev meeting, is that I am so glad these guys are on our team. I would really hate to be working on a technical issue and they're on the opposite team. Like they truly are some brilliant people, and those are the people working on the front line of Bitcoin development and building all the things that we appreciate now. And they're hard at work, and they need funding. Like they need funding for their little project, their little ideas. They need to partner with people that want to make a difference. And they can have the technical skill set, but they don't know how to raise money. They don't know how to deploy things. They're not very entrepreneurial, a lot of them. So befriend them and find a way to work with them. They need your help. They're very technically gifted, but there's a lot that they're not. And so they need the rest of us to really get behind them and support their work, because they're kind of like the modern day artists. Like consider them the Michelangelos of our time. And the paintings they are is what's going to carry our civilization forward. The paintings that they're working on. So they definitely need your help. And there's a BitDev meetup almost in every major city. When I say major, like a couple million people or something, you should be able to find one. If not, to start one. I'm going to try to launch one because somebody encouraged me to do it last week in New Orleans, but I'm trying to get the regular meetup going. All right, but anyway, let me close out the show. So Tuesday, tomorrow, we have Cosmonaut, BT Cosmonaut. He searches for creators that go out and create something. So these are people that are finally writing that book, like Deanna. She's one of our hosts on our 101 Wednesday. People that are making videos, people that are building applications or Lightning 2 applications or whatever. He finds them, brings them onto the show, and they tell us all about what they're doing, the creative journey and how they do it. So that's one of our better shows, I think, and one of our oldest shows, actually. Then 101 Wednesday was taken over by Joel and Deanna, who are educators themselves and have spent a lifetime in education and putting up the good fight. And so they have taken on the task of putting on a 101 Wednesday for beginners, not just about Bitcoin, but about the history of money, so that you really have a good base layer understanding of what Bitcoin is and where it comes from. Then Thursday, which was pretty much today's show, the first half of today's show is basically the Thursday show, which is all about engineering and creating energy at a grid scale for the human population. There's a ton of engineers that show up on that day. They talk about not just energy, but also Bitcoin mining and the role it plays in energy. So you got a little taste of it today with Macro and Justin and even myself, because that was my background as an electrical engineer. Friday, Hector and Tracy are putting a church on pretty much for Bitcoin is Life. The last two have just been nearly spiritual journeys. They found people that have dedicated their whole life to Bitcoin in some capacity. And it seems like each week they just keep finding these people that are just so passionate, and they get better and better. And Tracy and Hector are such great interviewers. Tracy goes so deep into, these people's lives, their personal journeys, and it really is a unique show that they put on Friday mornings. Saturday, TJ brings up Mark and Frank, who are two analysts, Wall Street analysts. So one thing about a Wall Street analyst, that is a very unique profession that takes decades to be good at and hone the skills around. So does understanding Bitcoin. And it's very few that you get those two chunks of information in the same brain. And well, they have. And so they're able to really help us understand these new big checkbooks that are showing up in Bitcoin now in this 2024 class. So this institutional money, traditional finance, Wall Street, how they think about Bitcoin is totally different from how, the libertarians or the plebs think about Bitcoin. they think of it from a very large scale. They're thinking about billions of dollars coming in, and they bring in big checkbooks with them. And so it's really important to keep, if you're interested in where Bitcoin is going and where this kind of, you could call them a voter block, is going to take Bitcoin. Saturday is where you can get a lot of that information. I enjoy it just because I'm very interested in that, and that's not my profession at all. So I'm very much a student on Saturdays. And then Sunday is my show yesterday, which is philosophy. And so I really appreciate a lot of the philosophers that are much more traditionally educated in philosophy than me. I learn a lot on that show. But we try to keep it on man's search and quest for truth and understanding, and how Bitcoin speaks to that. And then that brings us back to, oh wait, I forgot James's show. He's the only show that runs from 10 to 12, and it's Bitcoin at the Frontier. He goes out and finds people that are burning these circular economies in parts all over the world and doing really good things with the means of exchange, not just a store of value aspect of Bitcoin. So that's the show directly following the Wall Street show. And then we go to my show on Sunday. So that's the lineup, 8 shows, a lot of great hosts, a lot of awesome content. Thank you so much for attending today. I'm also starting to do videos. A lot of it is me just practicing on how the format works. So it's going to remind you a lot of the first 60 shows here, where I was just learning how to turn the mic on and mute people and deal with trolls. And so pardon the progress of me interviewing probably 100 straight people over the next 30 days, where I'm really just trying to get it to where it's a good, clean product that's ready for the masses, while we're still on a very obscure channel. Like, we really don't have a ton of followers. I think we only have about 7,000 weekly listeners. So I figure now's the time to get all those mistakes out of the way. So I'll be interviewing a lot of people here over the next 30 days. But if you'd like to give me some feedback on what I can do better, you have already given me tons of feedback, from how my mic sounds, to the music sounds, to the green screen, to all kind of stuff that I'm using. So don't hold back. I have no feelings when it comes to criticism. So please, and then if there's anything you like, or would like to see somebody interviewed, just help me get in touch with them, and I'll do a video interview. And we're doing basically live, unedited video interviews with the Bitcoin Daily, with me as the host in the beginning, and then I'll slowly try to encourage others to host with me, so that we can have video, live video, just like we do here with the audio. So it's a little bit different medium, but I think it's necessary if we're really going to blow the Bitcoin community up and get this content out there. So I'm just kind of taking it and running with it for the team. So that's it. I will see y'all tomorrow. Argumentative Bear, Logan, thank y'all so much for helping host this space. And let's go stack some sats. Love y'all. Have a great day.
See ya.
Yeah, Ghostcam is mentioning the ADR handcrafted guy that came on stage. If you don't manage your native language German, if so, hit me up with a DM and I'll help you as much as I can. Love it. Love to see it. That's right. Help each other out, especially if you're in the same country. And your English was fab, ADR. Your English was great. No worries, and no shyness. No shyness from anybody. All right. We got a few more to go down here in the drops list. Thanks for tuning in to 2 hours and 15 minutes so far. As we carry forward, The hustle in the house.
Yay.
We got Riley original sketch. Look at that cool sketch from The Hustle for Riley. Discover the origins of Riley with this exclusive drop featuring the original sketch from season 1 of The Hustle. This unique piece captures the creative essence of a beloved character. Don't miss your chance to own part of history that brought Riley to life. Awesome. Love to see it.
Yeah.
That's not just a Discord. It's an animated, it's not just a sketch. It's an animated sketch. What's my Discord ADR? Let's see. Consumer Breaks Discord is right there. And then the NFTopia one, y'all probably you need to go to the site or something. I don't have it, I don't think. But yeah, go ahead and join us. We do the regular giveaways over in Consumer Breaks Discord as well. In fact, real quick shill. If you do go to Consumer Breaks Discord, go to the contest section, and I do have a giveaway right now happening for a season 4 teaser badge with 5 winners that's ending in 46 minutes. You have to do it and click the ta-da over there. So there you go. There's a little Discord giveaway for you. We're doing this twice a week, so you always have something over there. All right. All right. Next up, I got some DMs. I'll check the DM in here in a hot minute. Ghost Cams Art we talked to, Wax Waifus we talked to, the online in. One of our favorite Wax streamers in the house. He's got a free cookie for us. Anybody want a cookie? Anybody want a cookie? A cookie?
I think Galleta wants a cookie.
Happy National Chocolate Chip Day. Okay, there you go. National Chocolate Chip Day.
A galleta.
Maybe you've been here for a while, or maybe you're just joining. Thanks for being here and collecting. The link to the key drop is in the announcements tab in Discord. So this is a whitelisted. You have to be on the list to get the free cookie. And Online In is a Discord of multiple collections. Frazzle himself, the Dazzler, Frazzle Dazzle. He runs the whole show, but he's got a lot of different collections in there and different channels. They do all sorts of giveaways all the time. It's kind of meant to be that way. So very good for noobs that are new to Wax that just want a bunch of free stuff, just to get your feet wet with some arts of different kinds from different creators. Go ahead and join the Online In Discord and follow the Online In over on Twitch. All right, let's do that. And then if you got your role or whatever, if you're on the key drop list, you got a free cookie. Another free cookie. All right.
Love free cookies.
Next up, artist Byron. Byron, look, we have a few sketches over here. We got the Unbroken Brutalization for 200 DHC, and that's his token, which you can also get on Alcor. This is the black and white, heavily contrasted version of the painting called Brutally Bloodied, yet still unbroken. This is Unbroken Brutalization. Oh, wow. Available for DHC. A wax-based token that you can earn for free in the Horde's Discord or by trading it on Alcor or Taco Swap. Cool. Artist Byron. Also, we got a no effects. I'm a non-F word guy on the stream. In real life, I guess you never know, but we keep it clean over here. But he's got it censored too. He's got a V in there. So this is a non-vux left to give ink art. I'm joking. All jokes over here. This is the ink drawing for no books left to give. It's free to those who really want it, but getting it means you need to really want it. How will I know if you really want it? Well, that's up to you to figure out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You have to feel it. Do you
I'm
feel
always-
that you really want it?
You have to feel it. You have to feel it really good. I'm always on Twitter, so if you really want it and you're telling the world that you really want it, I'll probably
You
hear
feel
about
it.
it there first. That's a hint. In the end, those that really want it will let me know they really want it and where they want it. Okay, Byron.
Okay.
Well, you heard that. You heard the man. If you want this freebie right here, you just got to let them know that you really want it. First of all, you got to really want it. And then you got to go on the TwitX and you got to tell the whole world you really want it. And then maybe you'll just get it. All right. And then lastly, we have a little inverted convention demon from artist Byron. This is the second drop of the same dang demon, but this time it is properly whitelisted to those that hold the Hordes NFTopia coin. I heard that. Is this a mistake? A fixer-upper then? It's the second one of the same dang demon, but this time it's properly whitelisted. Nice.
I love the honesty.
Nice. Love it. Thank you, Byron. Always doing amazing handmade arts. Now I'm stealing Twidex and Fubazing those from now on. Fubazing. Well, everyone's welcome to use Twidex. You're not stealing it. I'd love to be that more of a thing. I don't know, maybe other people have been calling it, but it's the first time I heard it is me calling it Twidex. I think it's fitting. I think it combines the two because nobody knows how to say Twitter and X. And I think Elon's a twit. So when we're saying twit X, it's kind of a small jab as well because he can't fix spaces, and it's just silly that we keep having space bug. The TwitX, it's the TwitX now. And if anybody else wants to adopt the name, I'm not holding on to the name. Let's do it. I think it's hilarious. All right. Next up, we have Olive Land with miscellaneous drops. I think this was the one that had the environmental stuff going on the wax space a while back. Olive Land 3-year anniversary is free. We got Olive Land.
I think it is.
Awesome.
Yeah, it is.
It works well. I'm giving all credit to you, said Meet the Artist. Hey, if you want to give credit. Push some more people over this way. Welcome to the Olive Land Adopt program, where your passion for nature transforms into active participation. I love that. Who loves nature? Who loves nature? Raise your hand. I love nature. I love nature. I don't spend enough time in nature. I'm always on the computer, which is very much not nature.
Yeah.
But here in Dub V, West Virginia, we have some beautiful, amazing, gorgeous landscapes, and I do love it.
Like hook tricks? Do you do that? Hug a trick?
Do tricks? What tricks?
No, you go to the nature, go to a tree, and you hug them.
Oh, tree hugging. Yeah. You ever give a tree hug? Sure, I've hugged a tree before. Sure, I've hugged a tree. You ever climb a tree? I used to climb trees all the time. They were my home. Trees were my home. Not my home, but I used to climb trees and run around in the woods. I grew up with 16 acres of woods over in Dub V. So as a kid, it's always fun, especially as a kid pre-digital age. Let's put it there too. Without iPads in the house, no such thing existed yet. All we had was outside. We had the woods. Go run around and climb trees, chase each other. That was exercise by default. Come home when it's dark. Like that life is a little different nowadays. But hey, the kids that are still doing that, props to you. That's amazing. Nature's out there. It's out there to explore. We used to love to explore. We just go out on the mountain and just keep going, walking up. Just keep walking uphill until you're at the top of the mountain. It might take an hour or two. And just whatever you find. We find new places all the time. We just go to new places and find stuff, find cool rocks, find caves, find creeks, get lost, find your way by walking back down the mountain to the road.
Especially get lost.
Yeah, we used to. Yeah, you get lost. We just walk downhill. Eventually, you find your way to a road, and then we'll see how far we were from home. Then it's like, holy crap, we just walked across the whole mountain. Now we got to find our way back using the roads. Yeah, man. And then also used to have a dirt bike, so like that's fun too over here in these parts. A nice a motorcycle that goes up the mountains. Those are really fun, y'all. Man, it's been a long time though. Whew, it's been a long time. Meet the Artist. Nature's great. I found a squirrel friend today before I got tortured. Okay. Well, squirrel friends are fun. But back to this drop. We got Olive Land. By supporting our farm, you're not just adopting a lavender plant. You're cultivating a legacy and promoting a greener future. This pack entitles you to adopting 1X lavender plant. Lifetime's worth of watering and maintenance to the plant. A discount has been applied to this and other Olive Land Adopt wax drops as a thank you from us. Olive Land Adopt program will be launching on our online store soon with a higher price for fiat. Wow. And then it tells you more about the program. Your contribution is a lifeline to our groves, ensuring that every plant receives the love and care it needs to grow. With your help, we nurture the soil, we tend to the trees, and continue our commitment to sustainable agriculture. Watch your lavender plant thrive. After each year of care, you will receive a caretaker certificate. That's cool too. It's not just the NFT here. It's a lifelong commitment that you don't need to commit to beyond buying. Join the Olive Land Adopt program today and plant the seeds of tomorrow. Support the farm, personalize your contribution, and watch as your little piece of lavender thrives under your care. That's a real life farm. That's not just a waxed out farm. That's a real life farm here. They're
it's real.
growing trees. I love it. That is amazing initiatives. And if we saw more stuff like that,
one lavender plant right now.
Go get your plants. Go get your lavender plants, everybody. And then also, and that was just the first drop here. The Olive Land Adopt. There's multiple. There's an Olive Land Adopt, another one. A 1-year watering supply. There's a watering can that look, it looks like almost a gamified art NFTs here that correspond to the real life growage. Very, very cool. Awesome.
Commitment.
Love it. All right. If anyone has any thoughts about anything, throw it in the chat. If you're experienced with any of these collections, if you're a holder or collector, throw it in the chat. Tell us what you like about them. Watercolor sketch art is up next with a whole bunch of watercolor sketch arts as usual. Ooh, we got a slew of drops here. Somewhere in Time, Sunset, a blue koala, which is a Koala Chat collab. We got a girl in a nightgown, yellow flower stamp for whitelisted holders. A yellow flower stamp just that's public. And then a woofie with a pearl ring. All right.
That's so cute.
Very nice handmade arts, looks like.
Yeah. Appreciate handmade art.
And it says the artist here as well. Digital painting by Alessandra Rodriguez.
Alessandra
Rodriguez. I roll my R's a little different from the Spanish because
Rodriguez.
I was born Hebrew and we roll R's using our tonsils, not our tongue. It is done a little bit differently. But I can still do it. Yeah, that's a good R. That was a good rolled R.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the Spanish do it with their tongue. I can't do it that way. I only do the tonsil version.
I think it's the position, the tone. Maybe it's because we did like a up. Maybe
our
you're
tongues
doing
are just
down.
different. I don't know. But anyway,
Positions.
the more you know, some tongue positions. I heard that. All right. Woofie with a pearl ring down here. Also digital art. This cute woofie can be staked in the sketch.wolf NFT farm. You can use
Look at that wolf.
SCART, Quack, Wolf, or Wax tokens to buy this digital painting on NFT Hive. Oh, very nice. Very nice.
Woofie with a pearl ring.
All right. Nerds Unite, we talked to about Fun and May blend. Fantastic. He's doing these blends regularly. Where I mentioned last week where he's doing these. Here, let's look at the drops right quick. These logos, very cool. I loved it last week. They're Nerds Unite logos that are made in the style of other company logos.
Kind of logo.
Yeah, we got an NFTopia one here. We got a bunch of them. And
Pony.
Yeah, and then you're blending these guys regularly whenever they come out. You're blending them with right here with the Hoot 2 Owl, or maybe they might change, but you're blending them to get even more stuff. And then if you're watching the streams, look, there's different outcomes. 25 left in the pool. It's a pre-minted thing, so you're blending them to get little different versions of Owl, Hoot Owl. Wow. And then if you're watching the CS Soli streams, you can also get them for free before they drop. So like he's distributing these for free from the stream beforehand as a viewer. Very cool. Love it. Skunky Chunks in the house with their weekly soil sample. Get your soils. You need your NTT, and then you can blend them up with all the good things. And you get some more soils and put them back in the dig. Get some more soils in the dig pool so you can dig up some more soil.
Always need soil.
All right, we got a few more drops left to go. Wow, 2.5 hour space, y'all. Thank you very much. Thanks for everybody that came on the stage as well. Last call for anybody new to get on the stage, talk about your project or your drops, all right, before we move on and end the space and play some games. We have here Signor Lupe, the Chummy Season 6 pack. I don't think it's brand new. Maybe it is brand new. But regardless.
No, I think we talked about this last week.
Awesome. Yeah. Last week we had Senior Topia or whatever they were called, something else. I think it was. Hold on, it was in blends. Where was it? Lupe-topia, the Lupe-topia, Lupe-topia. But this season pack is something else. This is a Chummy Season 6 pack, looking awesome. We just got a raid from Clawin Moon. Wow! Welcome, Raiders, Clawin Moon. Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope you have had a good time over on Clawin Moon. We're over here chatting wax drops and wax news with our weekly wax drop calendar space. We are finishing up here pretty soon. We've been here for 2.5 hours, but the Twitch will not be finished soon because right after the space, I'm going to continue with some Twitchy Tides for a whole nother hour. All right. So y'all stay tuned, and you are watching to earn break bucks right now. Like it says above my head, you're getting the break bucks. In fact, I'll give everybody some extras right now. Boom, boom, boom. 2 break bucks for all. If you do exclamation mark balance, you can see your balance. If you do exclamation mark dig, you can dig a free random NFT out of the pool for 35 break bucks. All right. Giggity. 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 Beady, 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 giggity goo. All right.
Oh, are we having our own language?
Something. Giggity, 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 goo, 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 beady, 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 beady. All right. All right. That's also part of it, right? From Quagmire. I ain't seen Family Guy in years either, but all right. All right. Here we have a drop from Mars Trader. We showed this last week, but these are still available, selling. We got the Mars Trader small, the toolboxes, small, large, medium, and whale. The whale pack. The whale. And then these things are able to be played inside of the game. Those animations
are really hard to make.
Oh, yeah. Mars Trader's 3D animator is just fantastic. He's also made different models for NFTopia as well. He did the trivia badge in last November. Looks fantastic, like realistic looking boxes that are just spinning all over and doing cool things. These are all packs. You're getting tools. It tells you the results in the description, and then you can go over to the website, to the game, log in, and you're using your tools there for like a little staking game over on ACK Consortium, who's also the Martian, the Twitch streamer, the Martian. So there you go. Amazing. Everybody go support some Wax Fams. Does awesome Blender work for sure. Yeah, Blender. That's the 3D program. Awesome. All right, we have two more to go here, and we're gonna shift gears. Wow, we're up to over 100 in the Twitch, and we haven't started Twitchy Tides yet. Oh my god! Oh my god! Yay. Thank you all for being in the Twitch. Let's pass the partner, everybody. But of course, everybody in the Twitch, you're earning, and you're able to dig for the NFTs using the break bucks. All right, so go ahead and do that. Over here in the next to last drop, we have Woofy Power from Microblocks from Brick Society. This is we showed this last week too. This is still available. All right. This NFT boosts your QDOS power by 0.2. Staking is non-custodial, and earnings started on the 31st of January. All right. And this is a woof drop for 11 millis. Good luck. Good luck on that. Hey, good luck on winning Woofies through all these different collabo giveaways and partnerships from everybody.
Yeah.
Hope some of you guys are winning some Woofies too. I know there's some that got some over on our drop, our convention drop that I shouted at the beginning of the space there. Shouts to everybody that won some millies of Woofies, and also a whole bunch of NFTs in the swag bag. Amazing. And of course, thanks to the partners who supplied all of them. Thanks to Woofy, who's supplying all of the partners with some giveaway goodies, some Woofies to play around with. And thanks to all the donators. all the donators giving us NFTs to give away. You can continue to do that. If you want me to give away your NFTs on the games or inside the dig pools, you can send them over to break.fx. Break.fx is the wallet. And then I'll just look through the wallet later and do that. All right. Last but certainly not least,
Yeah,
our
we
favorite
have
closing. Our favorite closing. We got chairs. We got new chairs. Everybody, we got chairs. All right. Check out some of these new chairs. And these are all one of ones. Look, we got them for 100 wax. If any of these one of one chairs tickles your art fancy, you can go ahead and get it, and you'll be the exclusive owner of that exclusive one of one chair.
Look at that. So interesting chairs.
Sit down chair. Oh, look, the sit down chair has arrows pointing to the seat.
Like here, sit down here.
How creative is that? Isn't that a fun idea? Sit down chair here. I like it.
Yeah, here.
We got luxury handbag chair. We got a panda snacking chair. Oh, it's a bamboo chair with a panda snacking.
Yeah, it's a bamba.
Beautiful. We have a deadly poison chair. Oh, that turned darker.
Poison.
Deadly poison. Wow. Load up.
Lime
Oh, wow. It's like a potion. It's like a glass potion poison, but it's chair. All right.
Yeah.
We have a green slime chair. Ooh, goodness. We got parachutist chair, baby chair, I'm sorry chair, which looks like a letter. Turntable chair.
And it says sorry. It's raining.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, there's a lot of them, y'all. We can't look at all of these one by one. All right, we'll just cycle through. Wow, he's done some work. Chair guy has done some work over here. I'm sorry, chair says I'm sorry on the letter. That's hilarious. Baby chair has a diaper on it. We got parachutist chair wearing a parachute. Turntable chair has the turntable, the old school music on it. Soundbox chair has a speaker. Blindfolded chair has a blindfold. 2 marshmallows roasting, making some s'mores over there. Orange kayak chair. Hey, us in West Virginia, we know
Look
kayaks
at
well.
Chain chair. It has something for the head. That chain chair. Oh my god.
Daggone, there's so many of them, so many chairs. Oh my goodness. We got a DJ, iPad, a 381i iPad chair, empty picnic chair, waterfall, casino card, solar panel, naked and afraid chair. A naked afraid chair?
There is a chair for everyone.
The naked and afraid chair is censored. This is the funniest stuff. We got squash chair. Blind chair. Oh, the blind chair has a seeing eye dog next to him. Oh my gosh. Oh my god, that is adorable. I love it. We got shame chair. A shame chair has a paper bag with eye holes. Oh my god.
Paper.
Oh my god. We have helipad chair, master battery chair, trans L's chair, sword box, bass drum, useless ratchet, white plastic, wall thermometer chair. And then finally, some of the ones we saw from last week. Rest club, looking up chair, cutlery, napkin, ISO energy, dysfunctional support, and old tribe chair. You guys, these are all handmade. This is all a guy that's drawing every one of these. So massive applause to just dosing up the drops list with a whole bunch of new chairs. Anybody that wants to support an indie artist on Wax who's got so many drops, so many unique chairs, this is the place to get it. Get you some chairs. That is pretty clever, says DJ. Yeah, that's insane. Every owner.
The most clever one we saw was the invisible.
The invisible chair was just an NFT with nothing on it. It was invisible. That's good stuff. I love the funny stuff, the humor. I love the humor stuff. So that's amazing. Amazing. Some nice shots there. Chair. Oh, any chair owners? Any chair owners in the house? Chair holders?
Yeah.
He's been ramping up the chair production to meet the artists. Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in with us. This was the end of the drops list. At the very bottom, you have the link to the last week's if you want to dive in even some more. We thoroughly appreciate everybody for coming into the space. We got over 90 folks in the Twitch. It's amazing. I'm going to go ahead and draw the winners. So it looks like we have 23 retweets. Is that what that says? Okay, then we got some good chances over here. to win some goodies. I'm going to draw 3 winners. One of them is going to be a Galactic Saga premium pack. We have the Wax Waifus, the OG Wax Waifus with the 600 wax floor. Oh my God. And then we have the Blog Art Wave. Post the link. Okay, but really quick. You got to do it right now. Okay, I'll do the other one first. I'll do the rare pin first. So you got to do it right now, right there. This link I just put in the Twitch. All right, go ahead and retweet that. The third prize is the raffle, the community raffle from Block Art Wave. And then also we have this other giveaway, which I'm going to just do first while you guys can retweet. Right here. This one is for the rare pin. All right. Medium pack, not premium. All right. Thanks for the correction. The Galactic Saga one is a medium pack, not a premium. It's still pretty good now. Pretty good. Pretty much premium. Pretty good stuff. All right. So while I do that and get the stuff loaded up into the Twitter picker, I want to thank everybody for joining in. I will stay on the Twitch. We'll hang out for another hour or more. We'll play Twitchy Ties. We'll continue to watch to earn. We'll hang out.
Yeah.
Hope to have everybody over there. And we thank our wonderful co-host Kristaya for joining in with us, for Waffles Kitty for hosting from NFtopia, and of course our speakers today. We had a little slew of speakers. Wow. I don't know if I can remember everybody. We had Broken Dolls up first, and we had
this week
Sully and Ghost Cam, Tommy from Wax, Handcrafted. What was it? Handcrafted Visionaries. Very nice. Agents. Who else am I missing? Who was on the stage today? We appreciate you. All right. Let me get this Twitter loaded. But go ahead, Waffles. What's next? What's happening? What should the people do?
All right, guys. Just don't forget to follow WaxSchool_. Follow us. Join us every week. You can also join us on our Discord. We have a drop calendar channel for you to share your drops, campaigns, events, anything you want to share with the community. Have it as early as even today if you have something that you're going to be doing next week or in the coming weeks. And Wax School does create their graphic by Sunday, I believe, Saturday or Sunday, so that they can post on Monday or Tuesday of the following week. So be sure to get your drops in time. You can also use the hashtag WaxDrop tag on Twitter. Use it as much as you can. Let's get that trending. I don't know if we have other announcements yet. But yes, we're here every Wednesday. And you can join us on 3 different places here on the X space, in the metaverse, and on Twitch.
Yeah.
That's right. Usually we're in the metaverse, or I am in the metaverse as well. This time I held back on it. My computer seems to be doing good, so that's fantastic. But yeah, as of late, it's been a little rough when processing, so that helped. But hopefully next week I can get a little diagnosis and we can get it all fixed up. But yeah, that's right. We'll be right here on the TwitX in the same profile next week, same time. I'll be on the Twitch consumer break. Y'all can always tune in that way. Get your drops into us. All right, get your drops into us.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us, and we see you next week with more drops.
All right, give me a half second. Let's see. Oh, I'm gonna have to redo that one. But the winner of the rare pin one, I got that one set up, I think. Let's see. We'll get some winners. Get some winners. The winner of the rare pin for retweeting not the space, but the post that announced the space last week is Navidad 77. Navidad 77.
Congrats.
Congratulations. All right, and then over here on the space, let's see if I can get the Twitter picker to load this time. It had an error. Come on, you got this, homie. You got this, homie. Oh, we got it. All right. All right.
Okay.
But Waffles Kitty, you're the winner of one of them. Well, let's roll with it. If you want to keep it, great. And if you want to re-gift it in some way, in some future way, great as well. Even though you're the host, it's fine. But you were the third pick, though. So Waffles Kitty, you actually got the community giveaway, the community raffle from Block Art Wave. Woot!
Oh, yay!
Yay!
And then the winner of the Galactic Saga medium pack is Daryl Brassolale, which is at Daryl Brassol1. Congratulations!
Congratulations!
And then we have a Wax Waifus, the OG one, whatever it was called. I don't remember now. Holly the Pixel Waifu, an OG with the wearing the red in the snow background. Fantastic. The winner of that one is going to be Welsh Dan NFT. Well, congratulations, Welsh Dan.
Congratulations.
Who's here in the Twitch with us as well. Congratulations. All right. Thank you all for tuning in. It's been a fun one today. I had a fun time today. Let's do this every week. Let's get everybody that's listening right now. Come in back every week. Follow the Twitch. Follow the TwitX. And just come on back every week while we do this. We look at Wax Drops. We look at Wax News. We'll do lots of prizes from the dig pools. And then we'll follow it up with Twitchy Tides afterward. Appreciate everybody that's been here.
Thank you guys for coming.
All right, awesome, guys. Thank you again for joining on the space. See you next week. And creators, don't forget to join in so we can hear about your next drops and events. And collectors, tell us what drops you'd like us to cover. We know there's like a bunch of stuff that we might not cover and maybe you're excited about. Maybe we can also get those creators to come up to join us as special guests. But yeah, please let us know as soon as possible. And see you next week, guys.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.
Drop.